Hey guys. You are watching your anime world. How are you all? Please support to subscribe this channel for watching new interesting stories. So in this video, we will see what if Deku taught class 1A and became a pro hero. Here is short summary. Izuku Midoriya is born 7 years prior to his original birth, now better known as the number 3 Pro-Hero Deku. He is starting his first year at UA as a teacher to a bunch of 15-year-olds. What's the worst that could happen? But before we start, if you want more stuff like this, then be sure to subscribe and like this video. And if possible, share this video with your friends. Now let's start the story. July 15, 1997. I am sorry miss, but he's quirkless, the doctor said straight up to the surprise of the young Midoriya, who sat shocked at the reveal the doctor gave him. What? Said the young Midoriya as his dreams were shattered beneath him. There must be a mistake, right, doctor? All of Midoriya's friends have shown signs. Inko tried arguing for her son. I see. Would it be rude to ask about you and your partner's quirk, miss? The doctor asked. Oh. I can levitate small objects and his father can breathe fire, Inko explained. Yes, by now Midoriya should have developed a quirk similar or a mix of you and your partner's, but them seems to be no signs. Yes. Also, further research has shown that toe joints are heavily related to if you get a quirk or not, and unfortunately for young Midoriya here, he is a part of the shrinking 20% of people who possess two joints. The doctor said, empathizing the word two with his fingers. Meaning he is quirkless, the doctor finished. Midoriya was left staring shocked at the doctor. The journey from the doctor's office to back home was quiet. Inko understood why, but she couldn't help but feel to blame for her son's diagnosing of quirkless. Was it stupid? Yes, but she was a mother who only wanted the best for her son. When they got back, Izuku immediately rushed to his room and slammed the door shut. Inko toughened herself up before walking into Izuku's dark room, with the only light present being from the monitor and the light from the just opened door by Inko. Inko looked at Izuku, watched that same video of All Might rescuing civilians on that internet forum as Izuku noticed his mother's presence and turned around to see her with tears flooding down his cheeks. A superhero is cool like that. That's what I want to be, Izuku said, stuttering his words as Inko looked in horror as she tackled her son into a hug. Izuku, I am so sorry, Inko said as tears began coming down her eyes as she hugged her one and only son, still blaming herself for his state. May 2, 2003, Mom, are you sure about this? Said the now 9 years old Izuku as he fidgeted with the top of his shirt. Some years had passed since Izuku's diagnoses, and to say things had been tough would be a vast understatement. Inko had witnessed Izuku come with bruises and bandages over the years, which incredible frightened Inko to the point of tears, but Izuku kept assuring her it was nothing every time. Inko was too good of a mother to believe that, which resulted in many meetings with teachers about their negligence towards Midoriya's bullying at school, which resulted in Izuku's bullying being turned down a notch. I mean, it was still there. Kids are horrible like that, but at least he wasn't getting beat up for it. But the people he once called him his friends did petty things like steal from his pencil case, lunch, or call him names like Deku, which means useless. Oh, don't worry, Izuku. Me and Mitsuki have been friends since I was your age. I promise you it will be fine, Inko said as they walked to the Bakugo household. They seem to be fairly well off and live in their own house compared to the Midoriya's apartment. They walk through the gates and knock on the door. The door opens to reveal Mitsuki. Oh, Inko, it's been so long. Mitsuki suddenly tackled Inko into a hug. Yeah, I am sorry we couldn't keep in touch and all, Inko said in an apologetic way. Hey, it's no problem. You had to basically raise a child all by yourself, especially since that jackass Hisashi left to the States, Mitsuki said, angry at his best friend's husband. Mizuki then noticed Izuku hid away behind Inko's legs. Oh, you must be Izuku, right? The last time I saw you, you were so small, but now you've shot up, Mitsuki said, kneeling down to Izuku's level. Yeah. Thank you, Izuku says, not knowing what to call her. Call me your aunt Mitsuki, Mizuki says cheeringly towards the green-haired boy. All right, Izuku says, becoming slightly more comfortable in the situation. Come in. I'll make you something to eat. And oh, I almost forgot, I'll like you too to meet someone, Mitsuki says as they walked into the house. She walked into another room and returned shortly with a small boy with the same blonde hair and red eyes as his mother. Hey Izuku, I want you to meet your little cousin Katsuki. Midzuki introduced the 3-year-old to the two. Izuku walked over to the small boy being held up by Midzuki. Oh hello, Izuku says. Who da hell are you? The small Bakugo snarled. Katsuki. Where did you learn that from? Midzuki told off her son. Inko whispered to Izuku. He definitely learned it from his mother. Inko snarkily says, recalling back to when she and Midzuki were younger as she got called out by teachers for even worser language. Oh. My name is Izuku Midoriya, it's nice to meet you. Izuku reached out a hand. Katsuki. Katsuki replied back as he put out his tiny hands and shook the much larger hands of Izuku. The two mothers couldn't help but smile at the two of them as Midzuki allowed Katsuki down so he and Izuku could play somewhere else. April 2007. Today is the day you are brought to justice, Toxic Chainsaw proclaimed All Might towards the villain. Oh All Might. Today I will rid you from this world, replied Toxic Chainsaw as he jumped forward and swinged his chainsaw forward to try and hit the #1 hero, but due to his faster than light speed All Might dodged the attacks. Grr, just stand still, yelled Toxic Chainsaw in anger. Meanwhile, a large group of civilians were watching the battle go on, with one of THSE being a 14-year-old Izuku Midoriya, who stood in awe at seeing such an intense All Might battle in front of his very eyes. Smash! All Might yells as he counterattacks and hits the chainsaw villain with his signature punch, sending him into a building as the crowd goes wild from it. It's over, All Might said, demanding the villain to stand down. Yeah, go All Might, yelled Midoriya louder than anyone else, which irritated the chainsaw villain the most. Grr, if I can't defeat All Might, then I'll just ruin his reputation, Toxic Chainsaw yelled as he suddenly got up and blitzes towards the audience with his chainsaw in hand, ready to slash an innocent civilian. In particular the one he thought was the most annoying, being Midoriya. No, All Might yelled in horror as he moved as fast as he could to stop the villain until Midoriya, who had closed his eyes, slowly opened them to see All Might take the hit for him as the chainsaw was now located in his shoulder. All Might, here, Midoriya said on the verge of tears. All Might chuckles over the pain. No worries, young man. I have this under control. Toxic Chainsaw laughed. Your selflessness is what lost you the battle, All Might, he said as he used the chainsaw located in his shoulder to throw All Might into a building. Who knew I would be the one to end the #1 hero, huh? Toxic Chainsaw said as he slowly approached All Might. All Might gripped his shoulder as Toxic waste suddenly coming down from it. Grr, he cringed from the pain. As Toxic Chainsaw slowly approached All Might, he was suddenly hit in the back of the head by a book. It did no damage, but it made the villain look around and see that same damn green-haired boy. He climbed over the fence separating the civilians from the battle and held a metal pipe in his hand, surly from one of the broken buildings damaged from the villain and hero's battle. You better leave All Might alone, or else, Izuku stuttered. Why the hell is he doing this? Just earlier his legs moved on their own over the fence to stop the villain. The chainsaw villain chuckled. Oh wow, that's funny, kid. How about this? Run home and tell of the name of Toxic Chainsaw, the man who took All Might's head, ha 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 ha. Suddenly the villain felt a hand on his shoulder and in horror he looked and saw All Might towering above him. Now, here's a little lesson in justice, villain. DETRIOTTTTSMASHHHHHHHH. All Might yelled, pouring his power into a single punch to the gut, and the power coming off of it alone causes everyone to be blown back by the wind. The dust settled, showing the villain unconscious in a massive crater as the crowd cheered at his victory. Although for Midoriya, not so much, getting scolded by pros and civilians alike for his reckless behavior. 30 minutes later, Izuku is walking home after being scolded by the hero for his actions. That until, ha ha ha, I am here. All Might suddenly appeared from the sky. What the All Might? Midoriya said, shocked. Indeed. All patched up as well, All Might says, showing the bandage around his shoulder. Oh, I am sorry, All Might. I was the reason Toxic Chainsaw attacked the crowd and as a result got you injured, Midoriya said, apologizing. No worries, young man, but I am not here to beat you up for an apology. I came for something else, All Might said. Wait, really? What would you need from a quirkless kid like me? asked Midoriya. Well, today I saw an amazing young man rush into action to save someone, something the surrounding heroes were too frozen in fear to act on, All Might stated, getting into a more serious tone. That's why, young man, I want you to be my successor, All Might proclaimed. What a successor? Midoriya said in shock. Yes. One for all is the quirk I possess, it's been passed on from one generation to the next and I want you to be the next, All Might said, pointing to the young man. A million things were going through the green-haired boy's head right now. Successor? One for all? All Might's quirk? I am gonna be like All Might? Young man, All Might said, snapping his fingers in front of Midoriya, who was in deep in thought but was snapped out of it by All Might. Oh sorry, sometimes I do that, Midoriya said, trying to hide his embarrassment. So young man, how about it? All Might asked. Midoriya took a solid many seconds to think about this before the words came out of his mouth. I accept, Midoriya accepted. Great, come successor, we have work to do. Wait, maybe a bit too soon, and I don't even know your name, young man, All Might said, asking for the green-haired boy's name. Oh. Midoriya, sir. Izuku Midoriya. It was another bright blue day in the city of Musutafu, with rush hour causing thousands of people to roam the busy streets and traffic to be at his highest. Raw hhhhhhhhhhhhh. The monster roared as it teared through the city, with the civilians acting as onlookers as the pro-heroes rushed to the scene to deal with such a monster. Causing such a scene at rush hour. Disciplinable. Number 7 Pro-Hero Kami Woods snarled as he launches tree branches at the villain, who tries throwing the attacks aside as it tried rampaging through the streets. Whoa, a giant monster quirk, so cool, said a hero looking from afar at the sheer size of the villain. Could he get involved and one-shot the villain? Yeah sure, but he's gonna let someone else take the spotlight. Meanwhile on the streets, the pro-hero death arms ensured the safety of the civilians. That's until Canyon Cannon. Suddenly Mountain Lady bursts onto the scene and kicking the monster quirk villain flying, with everyone shocked at the sudden appearance of a new hero onto the scene as she suddenly fell to the floor as she suddenly started shrinking. Today's my debut. Pleased to meet you everyone, you can call me MNT. Lady, the giant hero proclaimed as tons of people suddenly pulled out their cameras, with the light coming from it almost being blinding. Hee. Also sorry for the collateral damage, MNT. Lady nervously chuckled at Kami Woods. No need to worry, someone's got that covered, Kami said, pointing at the fact someone stopped the monster villain from falling to the ground. Under the building, tall quirked man was a sudden burst of green electricity which easily lifted the villain and thrown him onto the road outside of any harm. The man looked to be in his early 20s, he had messy green hair and faint freckles, with his costume being dark green. A metal mask resting under his neck with a yellow scarf. His name was Izuku Midoriya, better KNWN as Deku, the number 3 hero. Izuku wiped some sweat from his forehead before chuckling and waving. Sup Takayama. Midoriya greeted her with a smile. Grr, curse you Izuku Midoriya, you totally ruined my debut, MNT. Lady yelled as she angrily rushed over to Midoriya and shook him angrily. Midoriya and Takayama go way back, as they were in the same year in UA, becoming friends. Some classmates were pressuring them both to get together back in their 3rd year, but nothing really came from it. Blame it on either Midoriya's nervousness or Takayama being too proud to admit it. Nice to see you too, Takayama. You were so cool back there though, I am sure you'll be high in the ranks in no time, Midoriya said encouragingly as he lit up like the sun. Midoriya commonly fanboyed over his colleagues' quirks, he's also quite the collector of hero merchandise. Well, except for the more perverted merch of heroes like Uwabami and Midnight. Especially after that one date with Midnight he had. He gulped at the thought of that night. Sure? Takayama huffed and puffed. Midoriya suddenly got a notification on his watch. Whoa, looks like I gotta go. See you around, Takayama. Midoriya waved as he suddenly started floating and then flying. Grr, that damn Midoriya. Takayama snarled as he flied away as Kami sighed. Midoriya flew in the air, feeling the breeze on his face while doing so, until he reached his destination, on top of a Satane rooftop. Midoriya flew down and landed on there to see his none other than his mentor, friend, number 1 hero and also technically co-worker All Might. Ah, young Midoriya, it's great to see you, says All Might excited. Midoriya chuckles. Yeah, it's certainly been a while since we got to just talk, huh? He said as he used his levitation quirk to sit on the air much like Nana did before him. Well, I think I am gonna start teaching at UA again. All Might says. Midoriya's eyes widen. Wait, really? I thought you stopped teaching for good after our battle with All for One? Asked Midoriya. Well, yeah, that battle did knock me out for a while and unofficially marked my retirement from teaching, but I am back, All Might declares, smiling. That's great. I honestly thought you would have been taking it easy in these years, especially since you were basically living off fumes when it comes to your quirk, Izuku replied honestly. Haha, no worries, I may be nearly 50 and One for All hasn't been mine for well over 5 years, but I still got it, All Might said, giving a thumbs up. Yeah, I honestly can't imagine a world without you. I just can't emit the same kinda aura you do, you know, Midoriya says. Be more confident in yourself, Midoriya. You have far surpassed me in power, and the overwhelming feeling of hope you give off by yourself is immeasurable. All Might reassures his student with a pat on the back. Midoriya chuckles and smiles. Thanks, All Might. I also had something else to say to you, All Might said. Huh, what is it? Asked Midoriya. Well, you see, since new students are coming to UA this year, we sorta need a homeroom teacher. All Might explains. Huh? I am sure Aizawa will be alright with teaching another class. Even though he expelled the last one. Midoriya rubs his head. Well, that's the thing, Nezu has been looking for a new teacher for the new 1A students after seeing Aizawa's disinterest in the idea of teaching another year. All Might said, which made Midoriya look in shock. You aren't saying, yes, young Midoriya, we want you to be the teacher for class 1A. All Might proclaims, pointing at his student dramatically. Hey, I appreciate the offer, I really do, but I am only 20 years old, says Midoriya, trying to reason with All Might. All Might puts his arm over Midoriya. Relax, young Midoriya, this is a new experience. If you can fight the manifestation of evil, then surely you can handle like 0.20 children. That's entirely different, Midoriya argued back. Come on, Midoriya, if you don't like it after the sports festival, then we have Aizawa on speed dial. Well, not really, then we would have to delay midnight, All Might says. Midoriya took a long and deep sigh. All right. I'll give it a shot, the number 3 said, admitting defeat. Midoriya yawned. Alright, I think that's my shift done. See ya, All Might. He waved as he jumped off the building, activating levitation and flying across the city at high speeds as he felt the airbrush across his face. Since his shift is over, he will just head back to his apartment, not exactly a mansion or skyscraper like All Might or Endeavor, but what do you expect for a single guy in his early 20s? That was until he got a text message from Aunt Mitsuki. I haven't got a text from her in a while. Last time he got one from her, he had to have a talk to him about bullying quirkless people at his school. Aunt Mitsuki. Hey Izuku. Can you stop by? I know you're a busy hero and all, but your little brother needs some talking to. Midoriya rolled his eyes. Oh great. Midoriya flew towards a place he is all too familiar with, the Bakugo residence. He descended down towards the house, where he landed near the front entrance and pressed the doorbell. Ding dong. He waited for about 10 seconds where he could hear loud mumbles from inside before he saw the door swing right open. Mitsuki put on a smile as she saw Midoriya. Oh Izuku, it's been so long, thank you for coming over, she smiled. No problem, Aunt Mitsuki. Izuku smiled as Mitsuki let him in. What seems to be the problem? Midoriya asked. I keep getting reports from Aldera about his behavior and harmful language towards other students, Mitsuki explains. Ain't that just the same stuff he has been doing the last 10 years? What's different now? Asked Midoriya. Teacher said his language is getting out of control. Apparently he told some other students to jump off a roof or something, Mitsuki continues. Oh, that's pretty bad. I know his language is bad, but geez, I guess I should knock some sense into him, Midoriya says, shocked. Now, where is that little troublemaker? Izuku smirks as he suddenly hears screaming from upstairs. Oh, that must be him. He chuckled as he went up the stairs and saw the door to Katsuki's room decorated in edgy signs. He knocked gently on the door 4 times. Piss off, Katsuki yelled from behind the door. Izuku chuckled before opening the door, seeing Katsuki on his bed reading a comic, and frowned at the sight of the number 3 hero. "Oh great," Katsuki said, rolling his eyes. "Sup Katsuki, how's school going?" Izuku says, walking and sitting on his bed. "None of your damn business," Katsuki says, raising the book to cover his face. "Come, your big brother wants to know what his little bro Kats is doing," Izuku says, cheerfully putting his arm on the blonde's shoulder. Katsuki gripped the book he was reading so hard his hand was physically creased into the paper. "I told you stop calling me that," Katsuki yelled, red, embarrassed that he was being called his little brother. "What? Come on, you used to take that as pride," Izuku said, ruffling his hair. "Remember when I won the sports festival and you bragged to all of your friends that you the brother of the Izuku Midoriya?" Hee. Midoriya chuckled while scratching his nose. What the how do you know that?" Katsuki yelled, getting even redder as Midoriya cheekily replies. "Aunt Mitsuki." Bakugo growls louder at the fact his mom told him that. "Now I'll say it again. What have you been doing at school?" Izuku asked. "Grr. Doing fine, I guess. We finally started talking about our next steps, but of course no one is becoming a hero except me, Bekasu. I know none of those background characters ain't going nowhere," Katsuki said, regaining his composure from earlier as he pointed a thumb to himself. "That's Vegeta's technique." "Aw come on Katsuki, what did I tell you about thinking about others? I am sure there must be some people with promising quirks even if they aren't as flashy as yours," Midoriya says casually. "Nah, just some shitty extras which I couldn't give a single shit about," Katsuki says, lying down. So you're applying to UA, huh?" Midoriya said, trying to shift the conversation to something else. "Damn right I am. Once I make it out of Aldera, I will surpass everyone to become the strongest and best hero around. Even you and All Might won't compare," Bakugo proclaims, which makes Midoriya chuckle. "Oh really? I like your confidence, Bakugo." The number 3 laughed, which Bakugo was angered at, viewing it as Midoriya mocking him. "Hey, why don't we train for a little bit, huh? Just me and you," Midoriya offered, which surprised Bakugo at first but quickly turned into an evil grin. Hee sure. I've always wanted to punch you in the face." Bakugo smiled as explosions radiated around his hand. "Alright, but let's take this somewhere where we can let a bit loose," Midoriya said as he grabbed onto Katsuki's shoulder. "Where are we going?" Before Katsuki could finish his sentence, he was suddenly in a forest. "And here we are," Midoriya said in a relaxed tone as if nothing crazy happened. Bakugo looked to the side to see the city in the distance, with him being completely shocked. What? We were just in my room a second ago, there is no way we moved that fast," Bakugo said in shock at their sudden change of scenery. Midoriya chuckled at the younger blonde's astonishment. "I am faster than light, remember? I'd think you remember that after they kept putting the green flash on all those merchandise and whatever," Midoriya chucklefully claims with a hint of ego in his voice. "But the truth is that he is faster than the speed of light, with no other hero besides maybe All Might having a chance at keeping up with him, while everybody else only saw a blur." Midoriya finished chuckling. "Alright, let's get back to the training." Bakugo regained his composure. "Alright," he said as his hands had explosions radiated off of them. "Here I go, don't cry when you get hurt." Bakugo smirked as he charged forward while Midoriya remained stationary without even putting up his hands. "Grr die," Bakugo said, throwing the explosion at Midoriya as they both were entangled in the explosion, which produced black smoke which covered the two. Bakugo smirks. "Haha, I got him." Bakugo laughs at his accomplishments, but when the dust settled it revealed Midoriya stopping the blast with his finger. Midoriya whistles. "Whoa, impressive show of force. Would have probably done a number on me like 0.7 or 8 years ago," Midoriya comments, which makes Bakugo's shock at Midoriya's power turn into that of anger again. "Grr, don't make fun of me, ah," Bakugo yelled as he started attacking relentlessly, trying to land a blow, but Midoriya dodged out of the way of all of the attacks while putting his arms behind his back doing so. "Woo, another right hook, huh? You always going for those, and it's pretty easy for an opponent to read in combat. Could get you killed in a lot of fights, you know." Midoriya talked about Bakugo's poor fighting style while still easily dodging his attacks. Until suddenly Midoriya vanished from Bakugo's sight. Huh, where are you? Bakugo yelled out, annoyed at Midoriya's tactics. Until suddenly he felt a rumbling under the ground beneath him as a hand appeared from the dirt and pulled him below. Before he could realize it, his body was stuck underground as nothing but his head was visible from above the ground. Midoriya suddenly appeared in front of the Bakugo head with a watering can. What the hell are yo? Before Bakugo could finish, he was suddenly met with the splash of water. Look at me. I am growing a Bakugo in my own back garden, Midoriya chuckled. Ah, is this all a joke to you? Bakugo yelled. Well, maybe, but it's also to teach you a lesson about how you treat people, Midoriya went on. What does treating people have to do with? Bakugo was cut off again but being sprayed once again by the watering can. Shish, I am speaking, Midoriya told off the blonde teen. Telling people to throw themselves off roofs is extremely harmful, you know. Words hurt a lot, more than any punch I can throw, Midoriya explains. Midoriya then patted Bakugo's hair, so stop saying that stuff, alright. That's no fit for a future hero to say, Midoriya said with a reassuring smirk. Bakugo looked in surprise that Midoriya knew that, but he guessed his mom already told him. He sighed. Fine. Bakugo admitted defeat into trying to be nicer at school. Suddenly Midoriya pulled him out of the ground like a plant. There we go. The green-haired hero said happily. Now let's get you back home before tea, Midoriya said as he grabbed onto Bakugo one final time for them to suddenly appear back in his bedroom. Midoriya dusted off his hands. See ya, Katsuki, Midoriya waved as he left the blonde's room. The number 3 hero walked down the stairs to see Mitsuki in the living room. So, asked Mitsuki. Mission accomplished. Had a talk to talk and he shouldn't be causing any more trouble, Izuku said with a smirk. Mitsuki smirks. That's my nephew. They both smiled at each other for a second before Midoriya looked at the time. Well, I guess I'll be making my leave, Midoriya said. What is Nomori calling for another date? Mitsuki jabbed. Izuku's face got a little red. Nope, but I have places to be, that's all, he said as he opened the door and waved goodbye before jumping into the air. He arrived at his apartment, grabbing his keys and unlocking the door. He entered his apartment and slammed the door behind him. He walked to his wardrobe and near instantaneously he went from being in his hero costume to being in his green pajamas, the positives of having super speed. He walked to his bed and slammed his face into the cushions of his bed. While relaxing, he let his mind think back to everything that has happened today. He turned his body over so he could see the ceiling fan in his apartment. Maybe I should take that job at UA, Midoriya says out loud to himself. Midoriya felt nostalgic looking at the gates of UA, it's the place where he was trained to be the hero after all. He walked further up to the gates when the UA security systems kicked in and started identifying him. Scanning. Izuku Midoriya, welcome, the robotic voice said as the door opened for the number 3 hero as he entered. As he entered the main UA hallways he could see some familiar faces. Yo sup guys, Midoriya waved cheerfully as the blonde second year, Mirio Tagata alongside the rest of the big 3 Nijire Hato and Tamaki Imajiki. Wow, Deku here, Nijire said excited at the presence of the number 3 on UA grounds. Wow, Tamaki said quietly, are you going to help train us again? It was really fun training with you last year, Mirio said as cheerful as ever and even more at the presence of Deku. Midoriya chuckled. Nah, not today unfortunately, I have different matters to attend to with Principal Nezu, the Green Flash said. Oh alright, but nice seeing you Mr. Midoriya. Mirio smiled and waved as Midoriya walked away. Midoriya looked at the principal office door and took a deep breath before knocking 3 times. Come in, the principal said from behind the door just a few seconds later, causing the hero to open the door. Ah, if it isn't the Green Flash himself, how might I help you? Nezu said over his desk as he poured himself a cup of tea calmly. Midoriya walked in and sat on the desk opposite of Nezu's. I think you should know about the whole All Might's return to teaching thing, right? Asked Midoriya. Why yes indeed, it's essentially official at this point that he is indeed returning to UA. Nezu says casually sipping his tea. And I am guessing you also have heard about the offer being sent my way too, huh? Midoriya continued. I assume All Might has already told you? Nezu asked. Yeah. He thrown the offer my way yesterday and I was still pretty hesitant on the offer at first, but after some time to think about it, Midoriya stated. And Nezu looked in anticipation. I want to accept the proposal, Midoriya finally said. Ah, wonderful, it's an honor to have you here, Midoriya, says Nezu, who was overjoyed by him accepting to the point he almost spilled his tea. The honor's all mine. Being back here and teaching a whole new generation of heroes is gonna be great, Midoriya said, trying to avoid being all high and mighty. So I guess I'll start teaching when the new Class 1A shows up, yeah? Midoriya asked. Ah yes, you will be taking Aizawa's spot being the homeroom teacher while cooperating alongside people like All Might in the kids training, Present Mike in English, Ectoplasm in maths and also Midnight in literature. Nezu lists off the various heroes teachers he will be working with. Wait, did you say Midnight? Midoriya's sentence was cut short as someone barged through the door. Oh, Izuku, the person revealed to be Midnight. Oh, hey Nimari, long time no see, Izuku said as a sweat drop dripped down his face. Don't think I have forgotten about our next date, Midnight said as she tightly gripped her whip. Ah, Nimari, well you see Midoriya starts mumbling to how to get out of his situation. Holy shit, all for one. Midoriya pointed to behind Midnight, which made Nezu and Midnight turn their heads behind them to see nothing. Crash, asterisk. Suddenly both turned back to see Midoriya jumped out of the window, causing a Deku-shaped hole in the glass as if he was a cartoon character falling to the ground. I hate it when he does that, Midnight says, annoyed. Well, that's coming out of his paycheck. Nezu chuckles to himself while Midnight grunts that Midoriya got away again. 10 months have passed since Deku had officially joined UA as a teacher and the time for the entrance exams had come. Midoriya had mostly returned to regular hero business, but also making time to educate himself on how he could best be a teacher, which included some chats with Eraserhead, Present Mike, Vlad King and All Might himself. Midoriya walked towards the observation deck where the UA staff were currently awaiting for the physical portion of the entrance exams to begin. Midoriya smirked as he kicked the door open, which surprised everyone here. Yo! All Might in a well-tailored suit smiles. Ah, Midoriya, what a pleasure to have you here, he says with the same amount of joy a father would greet their son. Vlad King looks and sighs. Oh great, that annoying brat is here, he says with almost disgust. Ever since Midoriya developed his teasingly playful side to his personality, the blood hero had grown annoyed with the green-haired hero. Tell me about it. He was part of my first class. I should have expelled him when I had the chance, Aizawa replied to the blood hero, sharing his annoyance. Suddenly Midoriya appeared behind the both of them, pulling them into a hug. Oh come on guys, I ain't that bad. Midoriya chuckled as he hugged them tight, to the extreme irritation to the two older heroes. Suddenly the heroes' eyes shifted as a door opened in the entrance exam arena, showing the many potential students walk through of all shapes and sizes. Midoriya instantly let go of the two and jumped to the window with his face pressed against it. Ooh, who are these guys? I bet their quirks are gonna be amazing, he said, excited. No matter what experiences or shifts in personality, he will always be a nerd for quirks. He still even keeps up with his hero journals when he has the time to. Let's just hope these bunch are better than the last batch, Aizawa mentions. I dunno, I thought expelling almost your entire class last year was a bit far, honestly. Midoriya responds back on the topic of Class 1A. They didn't have what it took to be a hero. It's easier to put them down early before reality could really set in, Aizawa explains. I guess. But this year is different after they changed how they determine a person's worthiness in the hero course instead of basing it on just big numbers and flashy quirks. Midoriya replies, mentioning the changing of rules. Funny coming from the guy who can blow up a planet. Aizawa lets out a small surprising smirk. Their conversation, however, was interrupted as Present Mike was prepared to speak to the students. Hee, that's my gig. The loud hero smirked at the other teachers as he went to speak to the students. Present Mike appeared on the screen in front of the many examiners. Well, hello little listeners and welcome to the practical part of your entrance exam, Present Mike told the potential students. For this test you will be brought into a Simulatd city where dangerous robots are there for you to beat up to gain points, but if your quirk doesn't allow for high output damage, I recommend going for the power buttons on the robot's side, Present Mike said and continued. Some contestants had been assured by the explanation, including an invisible girl and a purple-haired boy. There are different kinds of robots worth different points, Present Mike says as he then shifts to the explaining the points. 1 point. Easy villains 2 points, medium villains 3 points. Hard villains 0 points. Arena traps. The rules and point system was laid out, and now it was time for the true part of the entrance exam to begin. Izuku looked down at the contestants. That blue-haired boy with glasses is definitely Ingenium little brother. When he was studying under Ingenium 1 year at UA, he would tell him how cool his little brother is and how he would be an amazing hero. He smiled at the thought that Ingenium's younger brother is living up to his dreams. Weirdly enough, he didn't spot the son of Endeavour anywhere. Perhaps he is getting in solely through recommendation, which is actually probably for the better due to how powerful his quirk is. Alright, start. Present Mike said to the confusion of the might-be students. What are you all waiting for? There are no countdowns when being a hero, Present Mike yelled. Then suddenly everyone started rushing to the city where the heroes could really see what these batch of kids were made of. The brother of Ingenium rushed in, showing his impressive speed and agility via his quirk and dispatching of many robots. Then there was a brunette girl who showed an impressive gravity manipulation quirk by making the robots levitate and fall to the ground, although it definitely seemed to take a toll on the young girl. Then there was a smug blonde boy with a laser coming out of his stomach. The laser seemed powerful enough to fire him across the fake city by itself. Man, these kids are amazing. Izuku fanboyed. As much as I hate to agree with you, yeah. Vlad King responded from the side. The exam continued as many students got to show off their quirks until the big bad appeared, the 0-pointer which made every single contestant run for their lives. Well, except Grr. Goddammit, I am stuck, the brunette girl said as suddenly she could see the overwhelming shadow of the 0-pointer behind her. She looked in terror before closing her eyes, awaiting for the worst, while Deku at the observation deck observed the current situation the grill was in as he started tapping his foot preparing for something. And that's it, folks, Present Mike said over the speaker, ending the exam. The girl braced for impact, but nothing came. Huh. The girl opened her eyes to see what was up, and the Deku was standing right next to her with his finger holding up the 0-pointer with little effort. Hey, you good? Asked Deku with a smirk. My god, it's really you. Suddenly the girl turned into a deep blushing mess. Huh? You got a fever? Let's get recovery girl to check you out? He smirked as he lifted her up from the rubble as he pushed the 0-pointer's hand up with a little bit of force with his finger, making the robot lose balance and fall into the fake city with everyone looking in shock. Whoops. Midoriya said, surprised it was that easy to push it over. Perhaps he doesn't know his own strength. Goddammit, Midoriya. Always have to be a show-off. Aizawa groaned from the observation deck. Midoriya helps her up while in her mind she is freaking out. The Deku is holding my hand. Screamed the teen girl internally. There you go. Can you walk all right now? Asked Midoriya to the young girl. Yeah, I think I can, she says, checking herself for injuries. Alrighty then. It'll be off, Izuku says, walking away. Wait. Can I have your autograph? The girl shouted. Already done it, plus a selfie too, Midoriya says to her while still walking away. Huh? She says, shocked as she looked to her jacket to see a signature on it reading. Can't wait to see you at UA, if you get in, of course. Izuku. Deku. Midoriya. It read, with him even drawing a chibi face of himself on it too. She then checked her phone, and to her surprise it had a picture of him with her phone in hand taking a selfie with her while she was getting out of the rubble. Just how fast is he? Said the brunette, shocked that he did that in just a short time span. Midoriya reappeared back in the observation deck. Sup guys? He walked in and sat on the chair next to him. You do know the 0-pointer was going to stop before you stopped it yourself, right? Said All Might. Oh, I know. Just that hero instinct kicked in, you know? It ain't like I was intervening in the exams anyway. Midoriya said, chilling on chair without a care in the world, while All Might sighs but smiles back at his students' antics. The day has come. Izuku Midoriya gets to meet the class he will be teaching for the next 3 years or so. Due to a villain attack when Izuku was in his 3rd year at UA, it made UA create a dorm system for the students to live in, which they have found quite successful in furthering students' hero growth, hence why it has stuck around for so long. Midoriya entered the teacher's lounge, which had become busier than ever with it being the start of the school year after all. Until then he could spot Aizawa on the teacher's lounge couch sleeping in his iconic yellow sleeping bag. Izuku smirks as he sneaks up behind the coach and pops his head up over it. "Hey Aizawa," Midoriya says with his energetic and playful energy. Aizawa is awoken by this and groans. "Grr, go away," Aizawa says, annoyed by his former student's antics. "Ah, come on. I just want to spend some time with my favorite teacher. Let's head into town and grab some snacks." Midoriya replies back as he imagines chibi versions of him and Aizawa happily skipping on the sidewalk as they throw banquet of flowers at onlookers. Meanwhile Aizawa is imagining it as Izuku dragging him across the sidewalk in his sleeping bag as if he was a suitcase. "No," Aizawa said straight up without restraint as he gets out of his sleeping bag and walks out. "No, really, it's super serious hero work," Midoriya said, trying to buy Aizawa on going out. "Oh really? Well, I am sure you can deal with it. You're the strongest after all," Aizawa says to Midoriya while his back is still turned and walking away. Aizawa has grown to adapt to Midoriya's new teasing personality, which he developed after growing leaps in power from just his 1st year in UA and by the end of his 3rd year essentially becoming untouchable. "But I didn't say anything yet." Midoriya tries saving it, but it was too late as the door was slammed behind Aizawa. "Oh." Midoriya frowned. Katsuki Bakugo looked up at the Heights Alliance dorms in front of him and took a deep breath. "All right. Get through with dealing with these extras and then I am a pro," Katsuki thought to himself as he dragged his suitcase across the floor until suddenly bumping into someone with spiky red hair. "Oh oops, sorry man, didn't see you there. Wait, hey, are you in class 1A2? The red-haired teen asked. Bakugo sighed. "Yeah, what does it have to do with you?" the blonde responded. The red-haired boy smirked. "Because I am in UA2. Ajiro Kirishima, nice to meet you," he said, raising out his hand. Bakugo knew this Kirishima guy would be an annoyance, but he decided to be as kind as he could possibly be. "Bakugo Katsuki, future #1 hero," Bakugo said, shaking the weird-haired boy's hand. "Confidence, huh? I can appreciate that," Kirishima smirks at his classmate's confidence. Then suddenly a tall boy in a UA outfit quickly ran towards him at high speeds. "Excuse me, but may I mention your scruffed appearance? You don't even have a tie on," mentioned the blue-haired boy in glasses at Bakugo's rough-looking UA uniform. "Huh? Did your middle school pull a stick up your ass? I don't care," Bakugo scoffed. "Hey, I mean technically, it says nothing about wearing a tie on the official site," Kirishima tuned into the conversation. "There exactly. Now screw off," Bakugo said, relieved that the shitty-haired kid was on his side. Iida coughed. "Well, that may be true, but we should still show our great respect for our predecessors. Oh, I haven't introduced myself yet, have I? My name is Tenya Iida." "Ajiro Kirishima." Bakugo sighed. "Katsuki Bakugo, now piss off," he said as he started walking away from the blue and red-haired teens. "Geez, what's his problem?" Suddenly a new voice joined in the conversation, a voice Kirishima couldn't forget as he looked to see Mina Ishido with a yellow-haired boy by her side. "Oh sup. Didn't know you were in 1A2, Kirishima replied. "I know, right? Oh, and I want you to meet this guy. I know you guys will totally get along," Mina said as the yellow-haired boy smirked and approached Kirishima. "Denki Kaminari, nice to meet ya," Kaminari said, reaching out his hand. "Nice to meet you too, man," Kirishima grinned and gave him a manly handshake, a sign for a start of a great friendship. Meanwhile, another person arrived on campus, a purple-haired boy with crazy-looking hair. His name is Hitoshi Shinso. For most of his life he would have never guessed he would be in UA, especially after his quirk was regarded as that of a villain by so many people throughout his life. His moment of self-reflection was cut short as he felt a hand on his shoulder as he turned around and saw a brunette girl in her UA school uniform and a green backpack. "Hey, are you okay? You've been staring at the sky for a good 5 minutes," the girl said. "Oh. Sorry, I was just thinking about stuff, you know. UA is a big step after all, Shinso replied. Oh, I get that. Oh, the name's Ochako Uraraka, by the way. Uraraka introduced herself. Hitoshi Shinso. Shinso replied back with his own name. Oh, I think we're gonna meet our homeroom teacher, Uraraka said as she quickly ran towards the main meeting area, which was just outside of the Heights Alliance dorms. Hey, wait for me, Shinso says, surprised at her sudden rushing to the meeting point. The 20 students all grouped together. Wonder who the head teacher will be. Ribbit. The frog girl, Su Asui wondered. I hope it's a smoking hot chick. Like MNT, Lady or Midao, said the grape-haired boy. Minoru Mineta wondered before being slapped over the head by the frog girl's quirk. I already know he is going to be trouble. The earlobe kuriked girl known as Kyoka Jiro said towards the grape boy. Now where the hell is our homeroom teacher? It's been over 10 minutes already. Bakugo spoke up. Hey, I don't want to alarm anyone, but who's that? Denki said, pointing the sky, which everyone turned their attention to. A man floating in the sky. The man smirked down at the students. About time they noticed, he said to himself as he quickly levitated down for all the students to see who he really was. And no way is that Kirishima was in the lost for words in who he thought he was seeing. He wouldn't dare. Bakugo gritted his teeth at the idea of who he was seeing. The figure finally landed and all of the students dropped their jaws at who they were seeing. Deku is our homeroom teacher, the entire class said at once, almost impressively in fact. Hee, you got that right, Midoriya smirked at his now students' reaction to the reveal. Deku. Bakugo nearly leapt forward at Midoriya but was quickly restrained by Kirishima and Kaminari. Whoa. Hey dude, what's your problem? Kaminari asked as he struggled to hold him. Meanwhile, Uraraka was currently as red as a tomato. Shinso, please catch me, Uraraka said, on the brink of fainting. Please don't. Shinso asked politely. What's her problem? The twin-haired son of the number 2 hero said, confused. Why, yes, I don't quite understand her overreaction, said the young heiress to the Yaoyorozu family, Momo Yaoyorozu. Izuku clapped his hands together. All right then, how about I give you all a tour of your dorms, shall we? He said with almost childish amount of excitement as he guided them through the Heights Alliance dorms. As he guided his students through the ins and outs of the dorms, they finally arrived in the living quarters. Wow, you weren't kidding. This place is awesome, said Kaminari after looking through it. I know, right? And this is the living quarters, Midoriya says, throwing his hands in the air to show his excitement like he was a child showing his parents something, as went over to the coach and desk where he lifted the desk up with his finger to find out all the drawing he did of himself in chibi form under the table was still there almost 7 years later. Huh, it's still here. Midoriya smiled before putting the table down. All right, but we need serious answers to something, Kirishima said in a sudden serious tone. Does this place have a Wii? Kirishima's serious tone then turned into childlike wonder. Deku chuckles. Hee, we sure do, and I'll let you know I am the undisputed king of Mario Kart Wii since 2010. Midoriya declares pridefully. Oh yeah? Well, the Red Riot is here to claim the throne, Kirishima said, getting pumped up. Oh, you're on? Midoriya chuckled and grinning almost evilly. Momo fake coughs. Midoriya-sensei, aren't you supposed to be giving the orientation? Momo asked, trying not to be rude but concerned that Midoriya and Kirishima are getting too far off topic. Oh yeah, whoops, nearly got off topic there. Anyways, I'll give you all an hour to set up your rooms and then come to the UA training grounds in your PE uniforms, Midoriya said as he went to leave. Anyways, I'll be off, see ya. Midoriya waved as if he was a child going to school on their first day as he closed the door, leaving the 1A students to process the last 20 minutes with their new homeroom teacher. What a weirdo, Jiro commented on her new sensei's bizarre personality. 40 minutes later, Bakugo exited his dorm room, now in his PE uniform and a bag featuring his UA uniform and other things. He waited in the common room where he was bugged by Shitty Hair and Pikachu. Su, what's up with you and Midoriya-sensei? Kaminari asked. Huh? Bakugo replied, semi-annoyed. I mean, you nearly leashed out on him. It's pretty manly to try and fight the number 3 hero and all, but why? Kirishima questioned. Come on, we wanna know. Kaminari pushed it. Bakugo let off an exhausted sigh. Fine, I'll tell you. Mine and Deku's moms are best friends from school, so when I was like 2 or whatever, his mom went to see me and brought that damn Deku along with him. Bakugo explained as he crossed his arms with anger. Whoa, really? That makes you basically Deku's little brother. Awesome, Kaminari said, excited and surprised at the reveal. Grr, shut up. Bakugo growled at the Pikachu, with his face turning red from embarrassment as he remembered being Deku's #1 fanboy when he was 9. Well, that title is probably disputed by the brunette girl. Meanwhile, in the other side, the common room, were the girls hanging out and getting to know each other. Sue Uraraka, was it? What was up with you when Midoriya-sensei showed himself? The pink student asked the brunette. Uraraka nervously laughs. Ha ha ha, what do you mean by that? She stutters. You were totally covering your face and asking that Shinso guy to catch you if you fell. Wait. Don't tell me, Mina said, suddenly coming to a stroke of genius. Wait, Ishido, you aren't saying. Jiro suddenly came to the same realization as Mina. You have a giant big crush on Midoriya-sensei, Mina loudly declared. Huh? Hey shush, don't say that out loud. Uraraka blushed red as she tries to stop Mina from screaming about her celebrity crush. Really? The same weirdo grownman who was beefing with a 15-year-old just an hour ago? Jiro said in utter confusion. No, it's just that he was my childhood hero and he's really cool. And attractive. Uraraka said, dwindling her thumbs out of embarrassment. While I don't see the appeal, I can repet your admiration towards a great hero, Momo commented. Yeah, even if we think your taste in men is horrible, Sue commented blandly. Thanks. Uraraka replied. Suddenly Iida marched in the middle of the room. Attention everyone, Midoriya-sensei's lesson starts in just under 15 minutes. I advise you all start making your way towards the training grounds, Tenya Iida advised his fellow students. I guess we just get a move on, Momo told the girls as she got up with her bag and made her way there. Hey, wait up. Mina suddenly jumped up, not wanting to be left in the dust by the black-haired girl. Ah. The gang's all here, Midoriya says, excited tly as he sees all of his students as he holds shopping bags. Wait. Did you go shopping during the break? The tape quirk Teen Zero commented. Oh, this? Sure did, Midoriya smirks as he waves his bags up. Mina gasps. No way, are those from the Chinen cake shop? Mina asked, extremely curious. Oh, you got a keen eye, Miss Ishido. Yep, these are from Chinen. Their cake creaming is just the best, Midoriya says, daydreaming about eating them. I know, right? Mina responded with joy as the student and teacher giggled about the amazing cake. Ishido. Not you too. Jiro yelled at her friend, joining in with Midoriya-sensei's antics. After a short moment, Midoriya turned back to the class as he clapped his hands together. Alright, let's get started with the quirk apprehension test, Midoriya said, with his excitement clearly visible as he reaches for a phone. Alright, first up is Kachan, Midoriya says with a smirk as Bakugo physically cringes at him using that name, as everyone around him couldn't help but chuckle. Grr, you all shut up. Bakugo growled as he walked up to the pitch in the white line and is thrown a ball by Midoriya. Alright, Kachan, throw the ball as hard as you can with your quirk, Midoriya explains. Bakugo smirks and lets out a little laugh. Hey, alright. I'll show you what I am really made of. Bakugo yells at the class as he raises his hand in the air. Die. The angry blonde yells as he throws the ball with his explosion quirk, making it be thrown miles and miles away. Midoriya smirks as he looks at the phone. 715.4 meters, Midoriya states to the awe of their classmates. Mina chuckles. Whoa, this thing's rock. I can't wait to have a go. Mina said, excited. Yeah, I am getting fired up, Kirishima replied, putting his fist together. Midoriya smirks at his students. Oh, don't worry, you'll have your turn. Test 150-meter dash. After a quick second, Midoriya appeared back, but now dressed in a PE teacher uniform, no doubt thanks to his faster-than-light speed. Tenya Iida. You're up, Midoriya shouts as if he was a drill sergeant, which Iida quickly reacted to. Yes, sir. Iida ran up to the starting line. Get ready and go, Midoriya yelled as he blew the whistle. The dash began with Tenya Iida quickly gaining the time of 3.04 seconds. Su Asui came in with a time of 5.58 seconds. Mashirao Ojiro came in with 5.49 seconds. Ochako Uraraka came in with 7.15 seconds. Yuga Aoyama showed off with his beam gaining a score of 5.51 seconds. Mina Ishido gained a score of 5.49 seconds. Katsuki Bakugo used his explosions to get 5.13 seconds. Test 2. Grip Strength. The class had all shown at least impressive human strength, but no one even came close to Mezu Shoji's lifting strength of 540.0 kilograms. Test 5. Ball Throw. No one was quite able to match up to the impressive score of Katsuki Bakugo, but that all changed when the ultimate Deku fan and round-faced heroine had her turn and threw the ball to infinity. The class all looked in shock while Bakugo mumbled something angrily. The overall test results came in. 1. Saint Momo Yayorozu. 2nd. Katsuki Bakugo. 3. Road Shoto Todoroki. 4th. Tenya Iida. 5th. Fumikage Tokiyami. 6th. Mezu Shoji. 7th. Mashirao Ojiro. 8th. Ejiro Kirishima. 9th. Mina Ishido. 10th. Ochako Uraraka. 11th. Koji Koda. 12th. Rikido Sato. 13th. Suyu Asui. 14th. Yuga Aoyama. 15th. Honda Siro. 16th. Denki Kaminari. 17th. Kyoka Jiro. 18th. Hitoshi Shinso. 19th. Toru Hagakuri. 20th. Minoru Mineta. What, I am last? Mineta said as he suddenly burst into tears. Meanwhile Shinso just scoffs at the results. TCH. The students then notice the teacher furiously writing in his notebook. Hey teach, you good? Is that to grade us or something? Asked Denki. Midoriya head pops up. Oh this. He chuckles. Nah, it's just my own little hero journal for when I see really cool quirks, the green hero says. Anyways class, get to those changing rooms as class starts in 20 minutes, Midoriya declares as the class starts to leave. As Shinso was about to leave. Hey Shinso, was it? The voice of the number 3 hero called him, which made him instantly stop in his tracks. Yes sensei? Shinso turned around to speak to his teacher. About your performance. Midoriya said as Shinso instantly sighed. Great, and if I didn't belittle myself enough already, the number 3 hero is here to make it worse. The purple-haired boy thought. Yeah I get it alright. My quirk just doesn't work for this stuff. Even the entrance exams I got in on the skin of my teeth only due to some quick thinking. Shinso suddenly yelled out, which Midoriya noticed. No, it's not about that Shinso. I am here to talk to you about what we can do to improve your physical performance. Midoriya stated, which took Shinso by surprise. Someone is here to help him for once? You know Shinso, you kinda remind me of myself when I joined UA. You see, I didn't have full control of my quirk when I first awakened it at 14. One wrong usage of it and I could potentially explode all my bones, which meant I was basically quirkless for the quirk exams like you and got last place, nearly getting me expelled. Midoriya chuckled as he told his story. Wait. You? The Deku nearly got expelled because you were a wimp? Shinso said, shocked. Yep, I guess you can say that, but once I saw that issue I trained up my body to not just improve my control of my quirk but also to help me in 1v1 fights when going full power would prove too risky, and I just know the guy who could help you with your own problems, the number 3 revealed. Huh, someone to help me? Who is it? The purple-haired boy asked. His name is Eraserhead. He's an underground hero who has the ability to erase quirks for a short period of time via his eyes. Kinda like you now that I think about it, and plus he's also a really good fighter, Midoriya said as he pulled a note from his pocket. He was really interested in your abilities and I think you could learn a thing or two from him, Midoriya says, handing it to Shinso as he starts walking away getting prepared for the next class. Shinso looks at the paper in his hand and a rare small genuine smile appears on his face. Class 1A had just come back from lunch. Their last lesson was a painfully mundane English class with present Mike. I wonder what's up next, Uraraka wondered as she took her seat. Better not be maths or something, Siro said. Please be midnight, please be midnight, please be midnight, please be midnight. Mineta said quietly, begging for the 18-plus hero to barge through the door. Then suddenly, Deku barged through the door towing a comically large present box by its wheels. "Sorry for the wait everyone," he said excitedly as he walked right in front of the classroom. "Hey teach, what's in the box?" Kirishima asked. Midoriya smirks. "Oh well, you see class," he said as he suddenly turned into a blur before coming immediately back, but now dressed in a magician's get-up. "Before your very eyes I will perform a magic trick," Midoriya said as he bowed before the class. "Where does he even gets this stuff?" Kaminari asked about how his teacher has access to all of these clothes. "Overly excited adults are creepy," Jiro commented. "Nah, this is just plain fun. Show us a magic trick," Mina said, excited to see what her teacher has in store. "Now my students, I shall perform a magic trick right in front of your very eyes," Midoriya says, getting into character. "What kind of clown shit is this?" Bakugo growled as he crossed his arms and put his feet up on the desk. "In this box I shall pop out the greatest hero of all time. 1.2.3. Midoriya shook his magic wand, and as soon as he finished counting, "I am here, in a comically large present box," All Might declared, popping right out of the box to the utter surprise of the students. "My Kami, it's All Might," Kaminari said. "Wow, he really is a teacher," said a surprised Kirishima. "That's a costume from the Silver Age, isn't it?" Asui mentioned. "Its style is so different, it's giving me goosebumps," said Ojiro, admiring the look in awe. "I know, right?" Midoriya joined in the fanboying of All Might, despite working with him for 8 years by now. "I teach hero basic training. It is a subject where you train in different ways to learn the basics of being a hero. You'll take the most units of this subject. Let's get right into it. This is what we'll do today. Combat training," All Might explained with his signature attitude. Combat training? Finally something to punch," said a relived Bakugo, evilly laughing. "And to go with that are these." All Might reveals costume baggage. "Costumes made based on your quirk registrations and requests you sent in before school started," All Might explained, with the class happy to finally test on some hero costumes. "After you change, gather in ground beta," All Might told his students. "Yes, sir," the entire class said in unison as they ran out of the room. After they left, All Might made a giant sigh. "Oh, it was really hot in there. You did punch air holes in there, right?" All Might said, rubbing his face to remove the sweat. Midoriya chuckled. "Well, you see, I sorta forgot." "What? I could have been fried in there," All Might said in shock. "I told the vestiges of One for All to remind me, I promise." Midoriya nervously chuckles as he then felt an internal slap. "Oi, don't bring us into this ninth." The fifth OFA user bashed Midoriya's spirit over the head. "Ow. Okay, I am sorry," Midoriya said to both All Might and the vestiges of OFA. Meanwhile, the spirit of Nana is laughing Harif. Shinso left the changing rooms as he zipped up his jacket to the top, which covered his mouth. His hero costume wasn't much for now, other than him having some small gadgets in his belt. "Oh Shinso." Ochako ran over to him, in her own hero costume, which is seemingly based off a spacesuit. "Oh hi Uraraka. Nice costume," Shinso said calmly, compared to Uraraku's own over Exikmon. Hee thanks, it's a lot tighter than I thought it would be when I ordered it, but yours looks good too," Uraraka nervously chuckles. "I wouldn't say that. It's just a coat with some little tricks in them," Shinso says. Suddenly Kaminari bumped his head in. "I think your hero costume looks pretty good, Uraraka," he said, with a snot of blood coming down his nose, giving a thumbs up before getting slapped over the head by the earphone jack's user. "Oi, get your mind out of the gutter." Jiro appeared, dragging Kaminari away by the coat towards the training grounds. "I guess we should follow suit, Uraraka says as her and Shinso go to meet with the number 1 and teacher. All the students gathered around All Might and Deku. "Aw man, look at everyone's costumes. So cool," Midoriya fanboyed over his own students. "I must say, Deku, I agree. They say the clothes make the man, young men and ladies. Be fully aware. From now on. You are heroes. That's great, everyone. You all really do look cool. Now, shall we begin, you zygotes?" All Might appreciated everyone's hero costume too. "Midoriya and All Might sensei, Are we going to be performing training simulations similar to that of the entrance exams? Iida in his knight-like armor asked. Ha ha ha, no young Iida, we have something else in mind. Deku, will you? All Might nudged the number 3 hero. Oh right. Deku said as he quickly vanished and reappeared with a large whiteboard as he began drawing the rules on the board. This training will be group-on-group battles. One side will act as heroes whose goal is to disarm and stop a bomb, while the other side acting as villains must defend it. Midoriya gave a quick rundown as he explained the training to his students. Oh, so like capture the flag in Halo, Kirishima comments. Well kinda, more like control points from Team Fortress 2. Midoriya said, letting out his inner gamer. Indeed, now the teams will be decided by a lottery alongside who faces who, All Might says. In soon enough time the teams were decided. A is Uraraka and Shinso. B is Shoji and Todoroki. C is Mineta and Yaoyorozu. D is Bakugo and Iida. E is Ashido and Aoyama. F is Koda and Sato. G is Kaminari and Jiro. H is Tokiyami and Asui. I is Ojiro and Hagakure. J is Siro and Kirishima. Wow, Shinso, we are matched up. Uraraka smiled at the news. Yeah, I suppose it's nice to have a friend as your teammate, Shinso replies with a small smile. Meanwhile, Yaoyorozu could only sigh at her own teammate. Great, she whispered with sarcasm. The first teams to fight will be these guys. Team A will be the heroes, and Team D will be the villains. Everyone else, head toward the monitor room now. Villain team, go in first and set up. In 5 minutes, the hero team will break in and the battle will start. Young Iida, young Bakugo, learn to think from the perspective of villains. This is pretty close to a real battle. Go all out. Don't be afraid to get hurt. All Might gave orders. Sir, yes sir. Iida responded as if he was given orders by a drill sergeant. Peef, whatever. Bakugo grunted as he and Iida made their way into the building. All the students then made their way to the monitor room to watch the exercise begin. As Uraraka and Shinso walked, the brunette couldn't help but ask. Hey, I know this is pretty late to ask, but what is your quirk exactly? Asked Ochako. Oh, alright. Just don't go around spreading this like wildfire, alright? Shinso said as the girl nodded. Alright. It's called brainwashing. Basically anyone who engages in a conversation with me becomes under my control, Shinso explains. Whoa, that's amazing, Shinso. Definitely pro-hero material. Uraraka gasped at his quirk. Wait, you're not freaking out or anything? Most people see it as a villain quirk? Shinso says, caught off guard by Uraraka's kindness. I don't really believe in villain quirks. I mean, sure, it can cause some pretty bad damage in the wrong hands, but I know it isn't, because it is in yours, Shinso. Uraraka told the purple-haired boy who was left awestruck. Wow. Thanks, Uraraka. I needed that, Shinso said, trying to hide his blush with his jacket. Meanwhile, with the villain team. So Bakugo, what kind of plan do you have in mind? Iida asked. I have a plan. Attack. Bakugo grinned as he walked out of the main room holding the fake bomb. Hey, wait. Gah. I suppose he knows what he is doing. Iida sighs. I suppose I am on bomb watching duty. Meanwhile, back with the hero team, they rushed through the hallways until suddenly. Boom! Bakugo came barging through the walls with an evil grin on his face. Yo, eyebags and roundface, he yelled. Walk. Shinso tried using his quirk, but Bakugo was already in front of them and ready to throw explosion right in their direction. It was too risky to finish his sentence, so he instead ran up to and tackled Uraraka out of the way, but this wasn't at the cost of Shinso taking splash damage from the blonde's explosions. Uraraka opened her eyes to see Shinso shielding her. Shinso? Uraraka yelled in concern. Gah. I am fine. You run ahead while I deal with the angry blonde, got it? Shinso said, pulling himself together as he got up to turn to Bakugo. Right, but be careful, Uraraka said as she starts running ahead. Bakugo noticed the brunette run ahead and was charging up an explosion in his hand. Oh, you ain't going nowhere. Hey Bakugo. Come and get me. Shinso poked the angry blonde bear by sticking out his tongue out and pulling the bottom eyelid down. Grr, why you? Bakugo propelled himself towards Shinso, who simply stood there smirking as he pulled up his jacket sleeve to reveal some sort of turret on his arm. Shinso fired the weapon as it spitted out a net which stuck to the wall and trapped Bakugo inside. Grr-ga! Bakugo growled like an animal as he tried tearing through the net. Hey! Trapped in there like an angry blonde Pomeranian, the purple-haired boy smirked. Bakugo began yelling as he tore through the net and angrily landing onto the floor. I swear to All Might I am gonna walk out of the training grounds, he commanded using his quirk. And then Bakugo just stopped. He stood up and simply walked out of the training grounds. Young Bakugo, where are you going? All Might said over the communicator, but Bakugo didn't listen. What the hell got into him? I know he would never just step down from a fight like that, not the Bakubro I know, Kirishima commented as a tear fell down his face. Dude, you barely knew him for a week, Jiro commented as the bizarreness of Kirishima. I guess that's all what it takes to know a guy, especially Bakugo, Kaminari mentioned. Meanwhile, Deku could only look proudly at Shinso. This test will be good not just for Shinso but also for Bakugo, as it will teach him not to run in guns blazing. Well, it seems like Bakugo has forfeited the match, for some reason, All Might announced. Meanwhile, back in the test. Bakugo, do you copy? Bakugo? Iida said over the communicator, fearing the worst. Looks like Shinso really did it, huh? Uraraka said out loud, catching Iida's attention. Huh? Why you dare challenge me, hero? Iida yelled in a villainous voice which Uraraka could only laugh at. Well, don't think have won yet, hero, for I am coming at you at full force, Iida yelled as he fired up his quirk and launched towards the brunette. Ep! Uraraka screeched as she barely dodged out of the way of the attack, sending Iida into a wall, but he quickly stopped himself in time before he crashed into it and propelled himself forward towards her. Uraraka, with her hands still on the floor, chuckled as she used her quirk on the flooring pads as they levitated up into the air. Guess it would be rude if I didn't show off my abilities too, Iida? Uraraka said as the tiles lifted up. Now. Release! Uraraka yelled as the pads came falling down right on top of Iida, who could only guard himself from the shower of concrete coming his way. Some moments passed as Iida crawled his way out of the rubble. Iida still kept up the villain persona. Don't think you have won yet, her. The bomb have been disabled. Hero team wins. All Might yelled over the communicator to the surprise of the blue-haired boy as he turned to see Uraraka cuddling the bomb. Hee! Uraraka chuckled as she hugged onto the bomb. Shinso suddenly stormed into the room and smirked that Uraraka managed to beat Iida on her own. Shinso, Uraraka and Iida made their way back to the monitor room to the excitement of the other students, and Midoriya acting like his manchild self. But of course there was Eyebags. Bakugo, who had long been free of Shinso's mind control, leapt forward at the purple-haired boy until suddenly he was pulled back by a black whip which wrapped itself around the blondes like a parent putting a leash on their young child. What the, let me go, hhhhhhhhhhhh. Bakugo growled as Midoriya hanged him up like a piñata until he calmed down. Great job out there, Shinso. Great use of your Gadex and especially for taking the blast for Uraraka. You feeling good? Midoriya asked his student. Well, I only took the splash damage of the explosion and not directly, still hurts like hell though, so I should probably head to Recovery Girl. Shinso explains. Then you should probably head there now before the day ends. Midoriya says as Shinso's nodded, excusing himself from the lesson in order to get healed up by Recovery Girl. And also Uraraka was so cool using the floor as projectiles against Iida and use it as a distraction to disable the fake bomb. Midoriya also added, which made Uraraka flustered. Yes, we should also mention young Iida's performance. He stuck to defense and even played the part of a villain, All Might complimented. Ah yeah. So who should we pick for the overall best performance? Deku wondered. Midoriya-sensei, I think Shinso should take it especially for taking that blast for Uraraka, which was totally manly from him, Kirishima said. Oh yeah, and how he somehow made Bakugo just walk out. What the hell is his quirk anyway? Kaminari asked, which made everyone ponder the same thing, except Uraraka, who knew what his quirk was, but she didn't want to betray the trust of his friend. Yeah, I suppose Shinso deserves the title of MVP for that game, Midoriya confirmed. And to think this was only the start of the lesson. Come on Shinso, you gotta tell us your quirk. Kaminari said, pulling Shinso by his arm. Yeah, why are you hiding it? Mina said, pulling Shinso's other arm. I said it last night and I'll say it again. No, Shinso said, tired of his friends begging. How about Uraraka? She will surely know about Shinso's quirk since she worked with him in training. Suyu points out to the two who stare in shock. Asui, you genius! Mina yells as she suddenly runs up to Uraraka at high speed. Uraraka. Please tell us Shinso's quirk. Mina begs to Uraraka, who simply turns away. Nope. I made a promise and I am keeping to it, Uraraka says. Come on, Uraraka. I'll stop teasing you for a whole week if you tell me, Mina pleads. No, 2 weeks. No, 4 weeks. No. Mina falls to her knees in defeat as Shinso and Uraraka look in confusion at the pink-haired girl's overreaction. Some minutes later, when more students start pouring into the room and taking their seats, Midoriya-sensei finally appeared. Midoriya claps his hands together. Morning class. Midoriya says with his always sunny smile. Today you will choose who will be your class representative. The representative title is a chance for you to gain extra recognition at UA. Midoriya explains to his students. Oh, pick me. Mina jumped out of her seat at the chance of being the class rep. I want to be representative. Me too. I'll do it. Vote for me and I'll put Mineta in a cage. Hey. He's got my vote. The class went loud as they all wanted a try at class president. All right, calm down now. We must solve who will be class representative by a democratic vote, Midoriya exclaims. 20 minutes later. What the? I got no votes. I demand a recount? Bakugo yelled as no one voted for him. Midoriya pulled up the piece of paper, and the results are in and. Momo Yaoyorozu is Class 1A's new class representative. Woo! Midoriya cheered alongside a few others. Momo gets a bit flustered at how her classmates and teacher support her so much. Well, thank you everyone, I will do my best to represent this class, Momo says as her essentially inauguration. With the second most votes is Tenya Iida. Congrats on becoming vice president, Midoriya congratulates. Iida bows. Thank you Midoriya-sensei, I will do my best in the position. *DINNGGGGGGGGG*. The sound of the bell was heard as the students rushed out of their seats. All right then class, have a nice lunch, Midoriya told his students with a smile. Oh, and can Todoroki and Mineta stay behind just for a tinsy tiny bit? A one-on-one for both of them? Midoriya stated to the confusion of Todoroki and Mineta, why them in particular? Minoru Mineta was up first. So, hey Midoriya-sensei, what's the occasion? Mineta asked, weirded out by how Midoriya-sensei picked him and Todoroki to stay behind. Well, it's about your behavior in the last hero training exercise with your teammate and now class president Momo Yaoyorozu, Midoriya said. Why yeah, and what about that? Mineta asked, stuttering. Well, from your behavior in the test was rather concerning to say the least, with how you stare and how you speak about her and fellow female classmates, Midoriya said, getting into a more serious manner. Mineta stuttered to make a sentence. His dirty mind was going to get him expelled from his dream hero school. Alright, listen Mineta. I understand you're a teenager and you have these urges and all, but you cannot be doing that to your classmates or literally anyone at all. I am not going to expel you Mineta because I know that inside of you is the potential to be an amazing hero. Midoriya explained, reassuring that Mineta will not be kicked out of UA. I understand. Mineta took a moment to respond. He was given a second chance to get his shit together before his dirty mind would get him in trouble again. Alright. See you in class Mineta. Midoriya turned his serious manner into a more friendly one everyone is way too familiar with. Alright. Mineta said, jumping off the chair and making his way to the cafeteria. Todoroki was standing outside as he saw Mineta leave. Guess it was his turn now to have a one-to-one with Deku himself, although this year wasn't the first time they met. Shoto entered the room and sat to the chair by Deku's desk. Welcome Todoroki. How's your first week of UA been treating you? Asked Midoriya. It's been a quite interesting development seeing everyone's quirks, Todoroki said. Midoriya chuckles. Well, that's nice to hear. Guess you are still striving to be number one, huh? I still remember when your little 10-year-old self walked up to me and said you'll surpass me, Midoriya said, remembering back to good times to when things were simpler. Well, yes, I pledge to be number one and show my father I can be a hero without even using my fire, Shoto further said. Ah yes, that's the thing I called you for, the whole, refusing to use my father's quirk, thingy, Midoriya said while imitating Shoto's super serious voice mockingly. And why does it bother you? Shoto asked, getting a tad agitated. Because 1, I am your teacher, and 2 is that it's not fair on everybody else. Everyone in this school is striving to be the very best they can from class 1A to general education, yet here you are thinking you're privileged enough to hold back, Midoriya said seriously. It doesn't matter, with my ice alone I can become a top hero and surpass the likes of you, my father and All Might, Shoto said, still sticking to his beliefs. Midoriya sighed. Alright, let me set the scene for you. You're a pro hero and there is a situation where your fire alone can save many lives from villains. What would you do? Be a self-centered idiot and let them die because you hate your father that much? Or would you do the right thing and actually be a hero? Midoriya said with a pinch of venom in his voice. Todoroki was choosing his next words wisely. Shoto still didn't quite have the words to rebut what Midoriya said, because he was right. Midoriya put his hand on his head. Just go and enjoy your lunch, Todoroki. Midoriya dismissed the white red-haired boy. It was quite surprising to see the normally energetic and childish Deku get agitated. Right, Todoroki said awkwardly as he exited the room. Midoriya kicked open the door to the teacher's lounge, where Aizawa, Mike and Vlad King were currently located. Ah. Sigh, Midoriya said, excited from aggroing with Todoroki. Did you just say, sigh, Aizawa said, because I want you guys to know how exhausted I am? Midoriya said in a whiny and childish way. Let me guess, Endeavor's brat? Vlad King asked the green-haired boy. Midoriya jumped on the chair and laid down on it while further speaking. Yeah, exactly. Kid won't use the other half of his quirk because of daddy issues or something, he said as he pulled a smoothie from out of nowhere and started drinking it. Endeavor's a serious guy. Can't imagine having him as a father, present Mike commented. Well, at least he's there for his son. Midoriya made a quiet passing comment before going back to sipping his smoothie. Well, until DINGGGGGGGGGGGGGGGG asterisk. Intruder alert, intruder alert. Intruder alert, intruder alert. Aizawa instantly jumped out of his chair. What the? A villain attack, Aizawa said. How did they get past the defenses? Present Mike asked in panic. No, it must be those damn media reporters. They've been trying to interview students all day long, Vlad King exclaims. Midoriya slowly got up. All right, I'll go and check, he said, doing some stretches before instant LTY vanishing from the other three's sight to their surprise. So, can he just teleport? Present Mike comments. With his speed, essentially, Aizawa replies. On one of the less defended parts of the UA gates we see a news reporter in a suit attempting to climb up the gates of UA in an attempt to get an interview with one of the students or staff, with a lot more news reporters behind him wanting the same thing. Grr, come on. Just a bit more, said the news reporter as his hands made it to the top of the gates, with him trying to lift himself up until suddenly 2 feet suddenly appear right between his hands. Hey. The mysterious man, to the news reporter's surprise, was none other than Deku himself. Oh. Hey Pro-Hero Deku. What a surprise, the news reporter said awkwardly. What you doing up here, bud? Midoriya asked the reporter. Oh, you know. Just hanging on the top of this wall. The reporter tried being chill about his current predicament. I see, Midoriya says as he then steps on the reporter's hands, making him let go and fall onto the ground. Ow. Why can't you just let us interview you guys? The angry news reporter said at the hero. Because you're all annoying and interrupting students' studies, Deku responds. Just you wait till I write about how you hurt an innocent news reporter, yells an angry newswoman from the crowd. Oh no, my hero career is in ruins, Midoriya says sarcastically before bursting out laughing. And also, innocent is quite the lie, Mrs. Attempting to break into school property. Hee. Anyways, that all folks. Midoriya waved as he suddenly vanished and reappeared back in the teacher's lounge. Done and done, Midoriya said, dusting off his hands before jumping on the couch. I see. The alarms also have seemed to have caused quite the panic in the cafeteria, but it seems like your kids managed to calm things down rather quick, Aizawa mentions, looking at video camera footage of Momo and Iida dexculating the salutation on his phone. What can I say? I taught them well, Midoriya chuckled. Yeah, I am not giving you credit for any of that, Aizawa replies. Break was finally over and time for 1A to head back to class, awaiting for what hero training. So teach, what do you have in store for us? Kirishima asked, wondering what awaits them. Midoriya smirked. We are going to the USJ, Midoriya said exically. Wait, you mean Universal Studios Japan? Kaimanari asked, still in shock at what. Wait, are you serious? Mina said, jumping out of her seat. Yep. Pack your bags, kids, we're going to the USJ, Midoriya exclaimed. A sudden roar of cheering was heard across the classroom. Yeah! Yelled the entire classroom minus the purple, blonde and the red white-haired boys, who all looked in confusion. Suddenly Shiro, Mina and Denki all dashed towards their sensei and gave him a massive hug. Thank you. You're the best teacher ever, said the trio all at once, which Midoriya found weirdly impressive. Hee alrighty. Grab your hero costumes and get on the bus, Midoriya said as he pointed to the bus parked outside of UA. Yeah. Everyone rushed out of the room to get changed. All the students got off the bus to look and see. Not Universal Studios Japan, and instead somewhere entirely different. You lied to us. Mina pointed angrily at Midoriya. Yeah man, totally uncool. Kaminari added. I thought it was pretty obvious. It's not gonna take less than an hour to get from Mustafu to Osaka, Sue mentions. Midoriya shrugged. Well, I only said we were going to the USJ, not Universal Studios Japan, Midoriya said, a smug manner. Then where the hell are we? Bakugo asked. This is the unforeseen simulation joint, where you will train your abilities in disaster scenarios. Follow me, Midoriya exclaims with happiness as he skipped towards the building. I am still surprised this is the number 3 hero, Shiro mentioned. As they walked into the USJ, they were met by none other than the Pro-Hero 13. Hiya. I am the Pro-Hero 13 and welcome to the unforeseen simulation joint. Let's get you kids started. 13 introduced herself to the students, which made Uraraka scream internally. Kirishima raised his hand. Teach, wasn't All Might supposed to be here? Kirishima asked Midoriya. Oh. Yeah, All Might is currently doing some press talks. Maybe he will make it time for the lesson to end. Midoriya explains to his red-haired student. Oh well, that beeps. Ojiro commented. Suddenly Kirishima pointed something out. Hey wait, are the simulations already beginning? Kirishima asked. Huh, what are you talking abo? Oh, Midoriya said, now looking at what Kirishima was looking at. Below them in the joint, portals started opening up from each direction with countless waves of villains coming out of it. 3 notable figures come out of it. The first is dark figure whose body is embodied in black flames, willed dressed in a well-tailored suit. Then coming out next was giant bulky monster in shorts with his brain sticking out. Suddenly another person ran out of the portal with hands wailing about as he smacks himself into the flamed man and falls to the floor. The smaller man was in a black trenchcoat with a hoodie over his head and also what seemed to be a hand covering his face. Gosh Shigs. What did I tell you, running into people like that? Yelled the black-flamed villain at the childish masked man. Oh sorry Kurogiri-sama. I am just so excited for my first ever mission, the person known as Shigs said to Kurogiri in childish tone. Fine. Just remember who put me in charge of this mission, Kurogiri yelled at the masked man as he pulled out a microphone. Hello heroes and children alike. We are the League of Villains and we shall be eliminating you, Kurogiri said over the microphone. Meanwhile Midoriya was looking down at them and smirked. Alright 13, I am gonna beat them up, watch after the kids for me while I am gone, Midoriya said as he starts doing some stretches. But Midoriya-sensei, those are like hundreds of villains down there. Are you sure you can take them? Kaminari spoke up, worried for his teacher. Midoriya smirked back at his students. Don't worry, I am the strongest. Midoriya walked down the stairs casually as villains started surrounding him, all pointing their many quirks at him. Sheesh, you're the guys who are supposed to kill us. Man, they don't make villains like they used to. Midoriya said, mocking the villains. Hey, don't mock us. Eat lead hero. The female villain said as she activated her quirk, which summoned Gatling guns on her fingers and opened fire at Deku. Deku saw the oncoming barrage of bullets and simply moved his hands at super speed, catching all the bullets with his hand before dropping the pieces of crunched metal to the floor. What the female villain said before Midoriya instantaneously appeared in front of her to gut punch the woman unconscious. So, Midoriya dropped the woman to the floor. Who's next? All the villains looked in shock before they charged right at Midoriya, making Deku smile at their pitiful attempt at attacking him, but instead of defending himself, he instead waited for them to come at him. One charged forward with a sword hand. He let out a war cry before bringing it down on Midoriya. But the blade never even made contact as suddenly an electric barrier appeared around Midoriya and broke the blade in two, sending the top half to nearly hit a nearby goon. What? The man said, shocked at the sudden electrical shock and destruction of my blade. You should be careful where you point that thing, Midoriya said as he put his finger on the villain's now broken blade. What the hell was that? The villain said, stammering back. I would, but I don't want to waste an explanation on a goon like you, too boring. He smirks as suddenly he lightly taps the man on the chest, which suddenly sends the man flying backwards at such speeds he splashes into the lake part of the USJ. Midoriya was about to continue his fun time of beating up villains until his danger sense tingled, not for him but his class. He looked up at the entrance of the USJ and a storm had engulfed the entire class. Goddammit, I gave 13 one job. Midoriya snarled as he suddenly backhanded a villain who tried sneak attacking him. Mineta screamed so loud that Midoriya could hear from across the entire USJ. Midoriya ran up to the stairs and wrapped Black Whip around the pillars to the right and left. Going up, Midoriya said as he fired himself like a slingshot into the air as he activated float. Using his superior reflexes, he could see where every single class member was at that very moment, and thanks to his faster-than-light speed they looked frozen in place to him, so it wasn't so hard to round them up and move them safely by the bottom of the stairs near the entrance. I am alive. I am alive. Mineta stopped screaming as he realized he is back on the ground. What happened? Momo asked, shocked at the sudden realization she was no longer airborne. They all turned to Midoriya, who gave them all a reassuring smile. Hold on kids, I'll be back, Midoriya said before instantly vanishing. Meanwhile, Bakugo is left there thinking about what happened. He didn't even perceive Deku recess him. Just how high is the top? Bakugo thought to himself about the sheer difference he must overcome if he wants to be number one. He reappeared at the top of the stairs as Kurogiri was facing off against 13. What you prevented me from scattering them? Damn heroes! Kurogiri yelled as he fired his dark essence towards Deku. Deku simply put his hand forward and said calmly, Delaware smash, and with that sudden strong burst of wind instantly evaporated the dark essence and blew Kurogiri into the wall. Such power. It felt like a skyscraper fall on me. Did we underestimate the power of the number 3 hero? No, we still have one more trump card. Kurogiri said as he used his own quirk to teleport him out of the rubble and back with Shiggy and the monster. Midoriya-sensei, yelled Uraraka as her alongside the rest of the students with 13 approached him. Deku, all communications to the outside are blocked, meaning we can't call for reinforcements. Should we evacuate? Asked 13 to Deku. Midoriya chuckled. Nah, we're good. I've got this under control, Midoriya said as they all ran down the stairs to meet with the students who would have been scattered by Kurogiri. Die! Yelled Bakugo as he threw an explosion at one of the villains as Kirishima opposite of him knocked out another before Midoriya and the rest came. There go, all back in the same place. Midoriya commented as all of 1A plus 13 are together. Oh great, now you show up, so teach. What now? Kirishima asked. Well, since these villains wanted so desperately to crash our little training exercise, I've decided to turn this into a lesson. Midoriya exclaims, full of joy to the shock of the class. Wait, so you're turning this villain attack into a lesson? Kaminari asked. A lesson in what? Momo asked her teacher. In how to beat the shit out of villains, Midoriya excitedly declared. Said the entire class at once. Yeah, so basically, Midoriya was explaining, but a large man came running at them, clearly due to his patience running thin with the heroes. You're going to. But suddenly a black bolt of energy was fired into the 6 feet villain's mouth, clearly Deku's black whip. Sir, I am speaking to my students. Midoriya yelled at the rude interruption before pulling the blade out, causing the villain to collapse to the floor, catching his breath. Anyways, as I was saying, basically I am gonna go beat up these bad guys and maybe you'll learn a thing or two doing so, Midoriya said to his students as he walked up to the villains, cracking his knuckles. Alright, I am done with the goons, Midoriya said, walking up to all the small-time villains, and with just the casual wave of Deku's hands all of them were knocked off their feet by a strong gust of wind, essentially knocking them out of the battle. Shiggy was also sent flying, except he's taking it pretty casually. Shiggy cheered as if he was on a roller coaster. Grr Shiggy! Kurogiri growled as he created a portal to catch him, teleporting Shiggy into his hands. Wow! Kurogiri-senpai! You saved me! Shiggy said overcheeringly. Whatever, Kurogiri said, dropping Shiggy to the floor. All the students looked in awe at their teacher. He did that with little to no effort. I never imagined Midoriya-sensei to be this strong, Iida said, shocked. I know he's the number 3 hero and all, but what the hell? Kaminari said in awe. Well, I guess there is no wonder he is, Shinso said in awe too. The only villains left standing were Kurogiri, Shiggy and the giant monster. So I assume you guys are the big bad bosses, huh? Midoriya smirked as he walked towards them. Kurogiri scoffed. Such overconfidence, hero. You may be the number 3 hero, however this Nomu over here has strength that rivals All Might in his prime, Kurogiri announced, which the class was left stunned. That thing is stronger than All Might. They must be over-exaggerating, right? Mineta said, bursting into tears. Can Midoriya-sensei really handle such thing? Todoroki commented. Grr, Bakugo grunted, clenching his hands out of worry for someone he sees as an older brother. Everyone looked in concern until Midoriya started laughing. The number 3 bursted into laughter as both heroes and villains look in confusion. What's the matter, hero? You think we are bluffing? Kurogiri asked the green flash. Haha. No, don't take it the wrong way, evil fire guy, Midoriya said, still chuckling at what the dark-flamed hero said. It's just hilarious that you think that can beat me, Midoriya said, shocking everyone. Does he really think he's stronger than All Might? Mentioned Kirishima. I think so, the class president Momo replied. I trust him. 13 comments to the surprise of her students. Well then, if you think you're hot shit, then face the Nomu yourself. Go Nomu, eliminate Deku. Kurogiri ordered the Nomu to attack. Rahhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhh. Hey! Deku chuckled before parrying the punch and kicking the Nomu across the face, sending it back. The monster growled before charging in again with a right hook, which Midoriya simply dodged out of the way with his arms behind his back as the Nomu tried and failed to land a hit on Deku. Come on, put your all into it, Deku told the mindless beast, who was too busy mindless as punching, but even then Midoriya, with his arms still behind his back, easily blocked the oncoming attacks with his legs. Midoriya then jumped in the air to deliver a nasty kick to the Nomu's face, but the Nomu recovered and grabbed onto Deku's legs, which Midoriya smirked at before summoning a dark energy blade made from his black whip quirk and slashed the Nomu hands off. The Nomu screamed in pain as Midoriya jumped back to the floor with the Nomu's cut-off hands still on Deku's foot. Hey Nomu, you forgot your hands, Midoriya commented as the hands suddenly fell flat on the floor. But it wasn't till Long Nomu's hands suddenly regenerated. Oh great, regeneration, Midoriya rolled his eyes. He's seen enough of regenerating villains in real life and fiction. Yes hero, he not only has regeneration and strength enhancement but also shock absorption, Kurogiri explained. Yeah you tell him Kurogiri, Shiggy said like a child cheering on his dad. So you're saying this thing ain't alive? Midoriya asked the dark-flamed villain. Well yes, it's the peak of League engineering and it will be the unstoppable force which destroys Hero Society. Kurogiri gloats about the Nomu. Meanwhile Midoriya lets off an evil grin. Alright then big guy, show me those muscles aren't just for show. Deku gestured with a beckoning sign. Rahhhhhh, yelled out the monster as it charged forward. Midoriya raised his fingers to imitate that of a gun. Bang! He said calmly as suddenly black whip spurred out of his finger and pierced the monster in the heart, stopping it in its tracks. Midoriya smirked before reeling in the Nomu as if he was the world's ugliest fish and then delivering a nasty punch to the Nomu's gut with the wind being blown out of the Nomu before its gut was burst open by the punch. Midoriya pulled his hand out with his glove now full of purple blood and guts as he watches the monster cringe back in pain before regenerating. You know, if you somehow turned your life around after this, you would be a really good organ donor, Midoriya joked before suddenly seemingly teleporting behind the Nomu. Keyword. If, Midoriya grinned as he roundhouse kicked the Nomu into the air before appearing in the air above the Nomu at faster than light speeds to hit the monster with a double hammer fist, sending it flying to the ground. But before it could even hit the ground, Midoriya was already there with his fist charged full of electricity. Smashhhhh, yelled Midoriya as he delivered a final punch to the monster's gut. The gut wound started as a green crack in the monster's body started to crack with green energy. Rahhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhhh shock as Deku easily took out All Might level threat. "I am possible. There is no way you could take out that Nomu. It was stronger than the #1 hero," Kurogiri says in shock. "Wow. Deku-kun is so cool." Shiggy fanboyed. Kurogiri sighs at Shugi's childness. "Fine, don't think you've seen the last of us," Kurogiri said as he and Shiggy are engulfed in a portal. The heroes had ophically won as the class cheered for their teacher's victory with them surrounding him. "Wow, teach, that was amazing. You hit him so hard he exploded," Kirishima said, punching the air to replicate what Deku did. "Yeah, it was awesome," said Mina, following up. "You really are the strongest," Kaminari said. "Hey, thank you. Now let's get out of here, I am starving," Midoriya said as they all started walking towards the exit. Midoriya-sensei, what are you gonna do about the goons?" Shinso said, pointing to all the unconscious goons around the USJ. "EH-13 will make a call to a hero, anyways. Who's up for some shawarma?" Midoriya asked his students in Exikmon. "Thank Kami, I am starving," Sato said. "I must say I am too," Momo replied. They all walked out of the USJ and hopped on the bus. The two villains appeared in a bar. "Kurogiri, Shiggy, you are both back, how did it go?" said an unknown voice over the TV. "Well," Kurogiri was about to say something, but Shiggy jumped in the way. "Kurogiri-senpai and the Nomu got THEIRBEAT by Deku-kun," Shiggy said to the annoyance of Kurogiri. "Well, yes my lord, he easily destroyed the Nomu despite its power rivaling All Might's and then some," Kurogiri admitted. "I see. Well, that is to be expected," said the mysterious voice to the surprise of Kurogiri. "Wait. You knew it would fail from the beginning?" asked Kurogiri. "Well, yes, it was only to see where I scaled to that green idiot, and it seems I have a lot of work to do," the voice stated from over the TV. Meanwhile, Shiggy could only let out a small evil laugh. Maybe Shiggy wasn't all that he seems. UA students were asked a simple question. "What is Izuku Midoriya to you?" Ochako Uraraka, self-declared #1 Deku fan of UA, was asked. "Oh, Deku-sensei. He's my teacher. If it wasn't for him I would have been crushed by the 0-pointer back in the exams, hehe." Hitoshi Shinso was asked. "Midoriya-sensei, huh? Well, I guess I owe him a lot, I guess." And I am not the only one but. Momo Yaoyorozu was asked. Well, to be honest, I don't know much about him, but I can say this though. He's an idiot, Kyoka Jiro said blatantly. Yup, a damn idiot, Katsuki Bakugo agrees. Indeed. Fumikage Tokiyami nods his head in agreement. Midoriya's former teacher and co-worker was asked. He's flippant and childish, someday I wish he will actually act his age, Aizawa sighs. All Might himself was asked. Haha, young Midoriya, need I say more? He's. Among all the answers a common theme was found. They believe Izuku Midoriya is the strongest. It's been some days since the USJ incident. Since Deku had dealt with the attack in such a quick and decisive manner, it meant that UA only gave the students a day off so they could go home to their friends and families, since being a villain attack is a rather traumatizing experience. This, however, didn't stop the Heroes Association getting involved, calling a meeting between major heroes where all major faces featuring All Might, Endeavor, Hawks and many more. But this excluded someone. Izuku Midoriya. Where the hell is he? Enji Todoroki said, sitting at the table crossed-armed. He's always late, Aizawa replied, reminding himself of all the meetings Midoriya missed. Mountain Lady sighs. That damn idiot is wasting all of our time. It's been 15 minutes. She yells out, annoyed at their former classmates' absence. That's until Midoriya walks in casually. Yo. Midoriya says casually as he takes his seat. Ah, young Midoriya. Great that you joined us, All Might says, overly happy, which doesn't stop Endeavor from theorizing about if Midoriya was All Might's child. It's about time, Deku. We've been waiting here for ages, Mount Lady yelled at the number 3. Ah, relax you. I am here, aren't I? You should know me well enough, Midoriya smirked back at his former classmate, now co-worker. I wish I didn't, said the annoyed Mountain Lady, until Midoriya suddenly appeared beside her and put his hand over her shoulder. Oh come on, you don't mean that, don't you? Come on, don't you remember when we messed with Takami by pulling his wings? Midoriya said with puppy eyes. Brief flashback showing a chibi teen Midoriya and Takayama in the joint UA Shiketsu festival pulling the wings of a teenage Hawks. BFF. Yu tries to hold in her laugh but fails. How you see? You do like me, Midoriya said in a childishly teasing tone. Hawks, who was sitting right next to them, sighed. You do know you're right next to me, right? Hawks said, annoyed that they are talking about him right in front of him. Gahhhhhhhhhh, enough children. Can we begin the meeting now? Suddenly Endeavor burst into flames as he silenced the 3 young adults. All Might coughs, trying to ease the tension. Well, I guess we should begin the meeting, he said awkwardly as they began the meeting and returned to their seats. As you all know, a couple of days ago, the first-year students of UA were attacked by a villain group hell-bent on taking down All Might, Nezu said. How could they be so confident in that idea? I mean, come on, it's All Might, ain't nobody beating him, Midnight says, trying to understand such overconfidence. Well, they weren't that delusional in thinking they could defeat me, as they possessed a secret weapon called Nomu, which supposedly rivaled me in power, All Might said, which dropped most of the room. Wait, what? Said most of the pros. But you did defeat it, right? Pro-Hero Edge Shot said over the table. Well, you see, I was going to teach the first year, but I was kinda busy talking to the press, All Might said, embarrassed, rubbing the back of his head, embarrassed. Wait, so you mean to be telling us? Present Mike said, turning to the number 3 hero. That idiot stopped a thing stronger than All Might? Mountain Lady said in awe and almost disgust as she pointed at Deku. Hee hee, yep, that's me, Midoriya said excitedly, chuckling. I guess the cat's out of the bag, huh? Yes, young Deku here is stronger than me and was able to easily dispose of the Nomu, All Might said with a smile. Huh? Since when? I call hacks, Takayama yells, pointing at Midoriya. I've had suspicions, Endeavor said. Really? Said All Might in response, with a small sweat drop falling down his face. I mean, isn't it obvious? The overwhelming strength and the fact Midoriya yells smash when he hits an opponent. He's obviously All Might's child, Endeavor declares confidently to the rest of the group, who look at him in confusion. Haha, what a funny joke, Endeavor, haha. All Might joked, laughing nervously after thinking his and Midoriya's secret was blown. Yes, I seems that Midoriya really is the strongest hero, isn't he? And it seems we will be needing him if these League of Villains people have more of these, so Cloud Nomu, Nezu says. Yeah, that's the worrying part. They could have a whole army of those things, Midnight said, sweating a tad bit. They can have 2 or a million, but he'll still win. The problem is everybody else's ability to handle these Nomu, Midoriya said confidently. Indeed, Midoriya was able to defeat it with little to no difficulty, which is definitely reassuring to know. Alrighty, I think we are done today, ladies and gentlemen, Nezu said, sipping his tea before announcing the end of the meeting as many heroes started leaving. Midoriya has just left the building where a bunch of heroes were cramped together into a room. Midoriya does some small stretches after leaving the building. Finally out of there. Can't stand meetings, but oh well, I guess I can spend the rest of the day to my. Hey, number 3. Suddenly a harsh female voice yelled from a distance, which made Midoriya freeze in place. Oh great. Midoriya sighed as suddenly a woman jumped down from a building as the ground beneath her broke. It was none other than the number 8 hero Miruko. I challenge you to a fight, Miruko yelled, pointing at the green flash with determination. Deku and Miruko have been training buddies for a while now, mostly due to Miruko's persistence in challenging the green-haired hero to battles which she loses every time, but it surely doesn't stop her from trying again and again. But honestly, Midoriya can respect that. Midoriya's then gets a grin on his face. Alright Bugs, I guess I'll humor you. All that lying around made me stiff anyway, he says, cracking his knuckles. Miruko smashes her knuckles together. Oh, don't think you can use that as an excuse when I kick your 3, she replies, gritting her teeth. By the next day all the students had returned to their dorms and be ready to begin their first day back at class. The class was loud, well louder than usual, as many were rambling on about the events of the USJ until suddenly they could hear a distinctive teleportation sound they all grew to know. It's Midoriya sensei. Yo. The pro-hero raised his hand to greet his student with a wave. Midoriya sensei, teach, Deku. The entire class yelled at once as they gathered around their teacher, showing their praise. You were so amazing. You yelled smash and he exploded. It was so cool. Not half bad. Please teach us your ways. How strong are you? So cool. Midoriya chuckles at the large crowd of loud children in front of him. Alright, settle down now. He calms his class down as he tells them to take their seats finally. So, class, as you should know, the sports festival is coming up soon. Midoriya excitedly announces to the whole class. Wait, so soon? I thought we had more time? Zero asked, caught off guard by the announcement. Well, I suppose we all are still processing what happened back at the USJ some days ago that we lost track of the time, Momo suggests to the class. Aw yeah. It's not something you can get your mind off easily, Denki said, rubbing the back of his head. I mean, yeah, how can you not think about it? Midoriya sensei was all cool, easily one-shotting all the villains like he was an overleveled protag doing start of game side quests. Mineta fanboys. And that begs the question, if Deku sensei can beat an All Might level villain, why is he still at 3? Asked Denki. Deku chuckles. Well, muscle can only get you so far. At some point charisma and heroism comes into play, and All Might has me beat in those areas by a long shot, he explains. Still doesn't explain why you're still below Endeavor though, Jiro adds. Well, let's keep this to ourselves, but I turn down the number 2 position every time there's an election, so Endeavor won't get angry at me, Deku says a little quieter. Makes sense, Shoto comments, taking the comment surprising well. Deku turns back to the class. Alright, enough about me. This is your time to shine after all, Deku says, turning his attention back to the sports festival. Shinso tuned in. I suppose we should start kicking out training into high gear. You're right about that, Shinso. After all, you all want to be noticed by top heroes, don't you? So try your best, Deku motivates his class even more. Yeah, let's do our best, yelled Uraraka in the back, with the others around her skoked at her determined yelling, seeing as the usually happy and bright girl turned into a battle-lusted warrior. That's the spirit. Deku smiles at the Gravity Girl's motivation. Deku looked proudly how alive his class looked for the sports festival, and he couldn't help but remember his own experience. Not just sports festival but something else too. It was a bright summer's day in Musutafu, the birds were singing and the flowers were blooming. And days like this call for a beach party, yelled multiple teenagers as they jumped onto the Musutafu beach, which was full of life, for now at least. Everyone was enjoying the summer day, playing in the water, playing beach ball, and even building sand castles. Well, not everyone. "Oh, Takayama, aren't you going to join us at the beach?" said a blue-skinned girl. Name: Kaoruko Iwata. Age: 17. Quirk: Bubble Hero. Name: Bubble Girl. Occupation: second-year student at UA. She was talking to a blonde girl with shoulder-length hair with purple-pinkish eyes who was laying the shade on a towel. "Nah, sorry Iwata. I am just gonna lay here and enjoy the sun away from those noisy men," the girl said, putting on some shades. Name: Yu Takayama. Age: 17. Quirk: Gigantificatin. Hero. Name: MNT. Lady. Occupation: second-year student at UA. "Oh. Okay." Iwata walks away shyly. Takayama sighed as she put her sunglasses on and lies back down. She sighs, looking to the noisy people on the beach. Can't they see I am trying to relax?" she said, annoyed at the ruckus, until she was hit in the face with a beach ball. "Ow. Hey, who threw that?" Yu yelled, with her sunglasses now broken and a throbbing pain to the head as she saw two people approach her. "Wow, sheesh, sorry Yu, y'all good?" said a figure who approached her. He had green hair and freckles while wearing a blue Hawaiian shirt and sunglasses. Name: Izuku Midoriya. Age: 17. Quirk: Uncown, one for all. Hero. Name: Deku. Occupation: second-year student at UA. "Of course I am not good, you idiot. You hit me with a ball," she yelled back, full of anger, as she stood up and started smacking and bashing her hands on Izuku's chest, while Midoriya remains unfazed, chuckling even. Yu began comically yelling at Midoriya. "You should be more nice, Midoriya. What happened to the kind little you from our first year? You've been corrupted by that damn." "Hey Yu, lay off," Midoriya surly. "It was an accident, right?" Suddenly a figure walks in. He has black hair and red eyes while wearing a dark gray Hawaiian shirt. Midoriya gasped. "Tenko. Long time no see." Name: Tenko Shimura. Age: 17. Quirk: Decay. Hero. Name: Entropy. Occupation: second-year student at UA. "Yeah, sorry for not hanging out. I was grinding this new game called League of Legends. I got pretty hooked straight away." Shigaraki apologizes. "Nah, no problem Tenko, let's go and enjoy the sun." Midoriya puts his arm around his shoulder and gives a smile which Tenko couldn't help but chuckle at. Him and Midoriya have always been close, well, close ever since. Flashback: it was early blue day in Musutafu as kids and adults alike rush around to get to school and work. Well, the exception is one young boy with messy blue hair, red eyes and scars over his body, limping on the streets as blood leaked from his arms. At first people looked in concern, but when they saw the boy's face, the concern turned to disgust and fear as they turned a blind eye to it. Surely someone else will help that creepy kid, was a thought shared by many people, youthful and old. But one soul thought otherwise. Inko was taking Izuku to school that morning, but while Izuku looked across the street he saw someone was injured. Suddenly something in Izuku told him to help that boy as he ran across the street to see the boy, who had just fallen to the ground in tears after nobody had helped him. "Izuku, wait!" Inko yelled across the street, worried that her son would run into incoming traffic, but he managed to avoid any accidents while running across the road. His movements slowed as he walked up to the crying boy. "Hey, are you okay?" Midoriya said, approaching him. The boy sniffs. "And no," he says, looking up, seeing the boy approaching him as he falls back. "Stay back," he yelled with tears still running down his face. He didn't want to hurt this boy like how he hurt them. "What's wrong?" "You can ask me. I won't tell anyone," Midoriya says, trying to convince the boy. My quirk. If I touch you, you will die," the boy made out the words. Midoriya got an idea of what kind of quirk it was. "Sweetie." Suddenly Inko ran across the street to see the two boys. "Oh mom. This boy needs out help." Izuku pointed to the boy. "Oh dear. Are you all right there?" Inko looked at the boy, worried, her motherly instincts kicking in. He said he has a quirk which would hurt people on touch. He tires to explain to his mom. That's when Izuku got an idea as he put his school bag on the floor and pulled out some gloves. He put the gloves on the floor to the boy's side. Here, that would stop it, right? Midoriya stuttered as the boy looked up in surprise at Midoriya, who gave him his best All Might smile. The boy put the gloves on slowly but steadily, and when he was finished he looked in happiness as his quirk no longer affected anything, as he started to cry, not from sadness and grief but out of happiness. Thank you. He managed to blurt out from his tears as he hesitantly walked towards Midoriya and hugged him with the tears soaking up Izuku's shoulder. After the hug ended, Midoriya looked the scared boy in the eyes. "What's your name?" Izuku asked. Tenko. Tenko Shimura. Tenko said stutteringly. Inko was able to get in contact with authorities after that, which meant the young boy could get the proper treatment he deserved. Thankfully, some brave soul offered to raise the young boy going by the name of Toshinori Yagi, who Izuku would eventually find out was All Might himself after becoming All Might's successor. Midoriya and Tenko remained friends, even going to the same middle school, until eventually taking the leap into getting in UA. Tenko," Midoriya said, knocking Shimura out of his daydreaming. "You good?" Izuku asked, confused. "Ah yeah, sorry." Midoriya, phased out for a second there, Tenko says, chuckling, rubbing the back of his head. "Have you been getting any sleep? You know, staying up all night like that is bad," Midoriya says. "I swear on All Might that I am, I promise," Tenko replied back. Meanwhile, Yu just looks in complete shock as the two of them just ignore her. "Are you guys just ignoring me?" Yu yelled at the two's unintentional rudeness. "Whoa, sorry there, Yu. Yeah, sorry for bothering you like that," Midoriya apologizes. "Yeah, have a good day sleeping or whatever," Tenko waved as the two of them left. Yu noticed them suddenly leaving. "Curse you, Izuku, Midoriya, and your cute face and extremely hot muscles," she whispered angrily. "Hey Takayama." Takayama jumped when she heard that as she turned around and saw. Takayama gasped. "Tatsuma-senpai," she yelled as she went to hug the blonde hero. Name: Ryuko Tatsuma. Age: 19. Quirk: Dragon. Hero name: Ryukyu. Occupation: hero. "Hey, it's good to see you too, Takayama. I see you are still having trouble controlling those two," Ryuko chuckles. "Yeah." Yu sighs. Ryuko used to be such a great help in keeping the boys in check, but since she has gotten into hero work she is left alone to deal with their antics. "So Tatsuma, how is the hero life going?" asked Yu, and Ryuko just sighs. "It's been doing good, soon I'll be my own full-fledged hero." The dragon hero gives a small smile. Yu gasps. "Wow. So cool, I can't wait to make my own debut onto the hero scene. Hopefully some particular idiots don't ruin it." She growls, looking at Tenko and Izuku, who are playing beach ball. Whoa. Izuku ducks down to hit the ball back up with such power the opposing opponents to Izuku and Tenko were unable to hit it back. "Yeah, we won," Izuku and Tenko said, giving each other a high five at their victory, while the other two just leave out of annoyance. Tenko. Suddenly Tenko could hear a familiar female voice he was all too familiar with. He turned around to see a girl with silver hair tucked into a bun and violet-purple eyes, while she is wearing a white bikini which left the dust hero jaw-dropping by her appearance. Name: Emi Aoki. Age: 17. Quirk: Healing. Hero name: Hira, the battle medic hero. Occupation: second year at UA. Emi. What a surprise to see you here. Tenko suddenly blushed red as he looked away, trying not to look at her cute face. "Oh hi Aoki." Midoriya waves cheerfully. Aoki giggles. "Me too. We're used to you being in your dorm all day playing Smash Bros or something," she said. "Why yeah, I suppose so, Emi. I surprised myself honestly," Tenko replied stutteringly. There was an awkward silence between the two of them before Tenko suddenly acted, looking at his watch. "Well, look at the time. Let's go, Izuku." Tenko quickly rushed away, grabbing Midoriya by the collar of his shirt as they walked out of the beach. "Whoa Tenko, what was that all about? Why have you been acting so weird around her lately? I feel like..." Suddenly something sparks in Midoriya's eyes as he speaks. "Wyatt, don't tell me you like her," Midoriya says out loud. Her? I never will not don't. I don't," Tenko says, covering his face out of embarrassment. Midoriya lets out a little chuckle. Hee hee. You never will. Not. Don't. You don't, Midoriya counterphrased while meanwhile inside One For All Nana can't hold her laughter at her grandson's embarrassment. Right. Tenko admits as Midoriya puts his hand over his shoulder. Hee don't worry Tenko, I won't tell anyone about your little crush. Midoriya reassures, giving a little smile. Yeah sure ladies man. Tenko regains composure, making a little smug comment too. Hey, I am not a ladies man. Midoriya with an annoyed tone. Come on, admit you are. Endeavor even tried setting up his own daughter with you because he wanted a super powerful grandkid or something, plus you already have a Tumblr page full of fangirls. Tenko says, pulling up his phone to show it. Yeah right. But it doesn't mean I flirt with a bunch of girls or something, Midoriya rebutted back. I mean you flirt quite a lot. Tenko smirks, saying that, which makes Midoriya red. Hey wait a min. But before Midoriya could make a quick comeback line, an explosion quickly caught their attention. Huh? The two say at the same time as they look up at a tall 50-story high building where an explosion just emanated from. The civilians from below at the explosion, which had just emanated from the large building, in shock and terror as two figures appear from out of destroyed building window. One was thinner and was wearing a suit and top hat, while the other man was a brute 7-foot-tall bald man with a tank top. Well, hello ladies, gentlemen, and that rainbow in between. I am Wei, or the Crusher Core, and today we will give you all demonstration of our power. Q Mayu? The shorter villain nudged the tall bulky one. Q chuckled. With pleasure Horu. He said, pumping his fist together as he activated his quirk, which made him able to turn into a ball. The ball then started piercing through the building at high speeds, which caused debris to fall down on civilians below. Run, said one civilian as they all scattered at the sight of the danger. They all ran, but one little girl tripped and fell. Mommy. Daddy. Yelled the little girl, who looked no older than 10, as a piece of rubble was about to hit her. Ochako. Yelled the father as he ran to get her, but before he could act, a green blur suddenly snatched and grabbed her out of the way as the rubble fell, causing some smoke to cloud the area. The father looked at the figure as the mystery boy held Ochako in his arms. The dust settled to reveal Izuku Midoriya holding the little girl. Hey, you good there? Izuku asked as he held the girl in his arms, but the brown-haired girl couldn't help but look in awe and admiration at the green-haired hero in training as Izuku then gave the girl to his father. Thank you so much. Are you a hero? Asked the father. Midoriya was still in his blue Hawaiian shirt, so it was hard to tell if it was the act of a hero or just a brave civilian who saved his daughter. The name's Izuku Midoriya. I am a hero in training, but you can call me Deku, he smirked at the man. Tenko appeared just behind him as they both look up at the destruction above them. So let's say me and you beat these bad guys up, huh? The Shimura suggested, eyeing Midoriya. I guess we should put those provisional licenses to use entropy? Midoriya smirked back as he handed the little brown-haired girl his sunglasses. Hold on to these for me, alright? Gotta beat up bad guys, he says, giving the girl a smile. The girl looks at the glasses before looking back at him. Right. Wait, you're just teenagers, shouldn't real heroes be doing this? Asked one civilian. Don't worry, we're the strongest around, Midoriya said to the civilian as the two of them clicked their watches as they were suddenly engulfed in a green and red aura, but soon after they appeared in their hero outfits. Tenko's hero outfit held a striking resemblance to his grandmother's. All Might may or may not have cried. They look at each other with a smile. Try to keep up, Izuku comments as they suddenly dash up the building with their speed alone. The villain known as Horu scoffs. Damn heroes, he said as he summoned his quirk, which created a giant construct of a drill and fired it at the heroes. Whoa! The two yell in sync as they dodge the drill by jumping the windows as Izuku summons Black Whip and grabs onto Tenko as they swing further up the building. You think you can handle the drill guy? Or should I take them both on? Midoriya smugly says as they swing. Tenko chuckles. I am not ready to be outdone, Midoriya. I'll take him, he says as he leaps off Midoriya and tackles into Horu before he could have the chance to summon the drill. Meanwhile, Midoriya sees Q in his ball state, causing further damage to the building. If this goes any longer, the building would be destroyed. Izuku jumps onto the floor where Q is causing destruction on and catches him with his bare hands before he could hit another pillar. The guy was actually stronger than Midoriya thought as his feet dug into the ground and was gnarly going to be knocked out of the building, so he needed a little extra juice. Ah! Midoriya suddenly emanated green electricity, and with his newfound power he stops the Wrecking Ball villain in their tracks. Q is forced to transform back into his normal state, where his size advantage definitely showed as he towered over Midoriya and grabbed the hero by the shoulders. "I don't think so, hero," but before he could finish his sentence he was keened in the chin, which sent Q back to the other side of the building as he tried regaining his composure. "You were saying?" Midoriya said as he walked calmly towards the villain and then delivered a devastating gut to the punch, which left Q puking saliva out as fell onto Midoriya's shoulder, but was then punched in the face as he fell unconscious as his body nearly fell off the building before Midoriya caught him with his black whip. Midoriya sat on the ledge as he held up Q with his black whip. "Wonder how Tenko's doing," Midoriya said to himself. After Tenko tackled the drill hero into the building, the villain quickly stepping back a bit to make some distance. "Well, aren't you a little young to be a hero?" asked Horu mockingly. "I dunno, aren't you a little old to be throwing tantrums in public?" smirked Tenko, which angered the villain. "Grr." He grunted as he summoned his drill and threw it in the direction of Tenko, but instead of dodging he gripped his feet and took the drill head on, holding it back with his bare hands. He held onto it so hard his feet were tearing through solid concrete to simply hold it back before suddenly the drill started decaying. What the? Impossible!" yelled out Horu. As the drill turned to dust on the floor, Tenko chuckled. "What can I say? I am good with my hands," he says smirkingly as he puts his gloves back on before suddenly vanishing out of Horu's sight. Huh! stuttered Horu as Tenko left his line of sight until suddenly he felt someone grab his face and slam him into the concrete wall, breaking it, causing Horu to spit out blood before Tenko pulled him out of the wall to gut punch, uppercut, and finally finish with a punch to the jaw. Tenko had accomplished that in all but a second due to his sheer speed. By the end of it, Horu was left unconscious with a dent in his cheek. Tenko pulled the unconscious villain onto his shoulder as he walked out of the building. Midoriya and Shimura walked out of the building, being met by the applaud of the civilians with a police van parked nearby. Ryukyu walked out to greet them. "Thank you for dealing with this, boys. I was busy with another case," she says, coughing in the middle nervously since she was at the beach 5 minutes ago. Midoriya uses Black Whip to pull the two villains into the police van as they talk. "No problem, Ryukyu," says Midoriya, chuckling. "Anyways, we'll be off now. I am sure you have it from here," Tenko says as he and Midoriya walk off to transforming from their hero costumes, but wasn't before the little girl from before ran up to Midoriya. Hey, wait!" yelled out the little girl, which got Midoriya's attention. "Oh." Izuku kneeled down as the girl handed him his glasses, which made Izuku only smile. "Hey, tell me, kid, what do you want to be when you grow up?" asked Midoriya. The girl looked shyly. "I want to be a hero so I can help mommy and daddy," the girl told the teen hero. "Oh really? Can't wait to work side by side as heroes then. Say, keep the glasses. You've earned them," he says, putting the glasses on her. They were a bit big for her, but she didn't care for that as she was staring in awe and admiration at the teen hero. "Izuku, you coming?" Tenko says from far away. "Oh, coming." Midoriya then started running up to him, leaving the girl on her own to think. "I am gonna be a hero," thought the young girl. "Damn, finally got out of that suit. The watch thing is cool and all, but it's so damn tight. Plus it's pretty weak compared to the real deal," Midoriya complains. Tenko chuckles. "Yeah, tell me about it. Sue, wanna head back to the dorms and play some Smash Bros? No way. You always use Meta Knight and spam that same move all the time," Midoriya replies back. "Hee, alright. Mario Kart it is," Tenko says, still chuckling. Izuku and Tenko couldn't wait for what the future brings. Midoriya. Suddenly Izuku was hit in the head by a piece of crunched up paper by Aizawa. "Get up," Aizawa said, annoyed, still throwing bits of paper at him. "Ow. Alright, I am up," Midoriya replied, getting up while nagging childishly. "What's wrong? Usually you're the one nagging me to not sleep on the job," Aizawa asked. "Oh. It's nothing, just had a good dream, that's all," Midoriya said, smiling as he remembered back to good times. Aizawa got up from the chair and walked out of the room. "Alright. See you there, he said as he left. Midoriya sighed. Truth be told, he never had a good sleep schedule. Well, never since his second year at UA after the incident, but he brushed that aside and caught up with Aizawa as they walked towards the sports festival stadium. Uraraka is in her room, dressed in the UA Sports Festival uniform as she goes to the shelf on the opposite side of the room and pulls out a set of sunglasses from a box. These were the same glasses Deku had gave her when was just 10 years old. The lenses were cracked and one of the temples had broken off. This was mostly due to Uraraka insisting on wearing them every time she played hero. She remembered when she cried running to her parents when she realized she broke the lens. She chuckles to herself before hearing a knock on her door. Hey Uraraka. The festival is gonna start soon. Uraraka heard Mina say from the door. Oh, coming. Uraraka placed the glasses down and ran outside to get with the others as the sports festival was beginning. While rushing out the door, she felt a rush of determination. She is gonna win the sports festival and make her parents and Deku-sensei proud. Cutting forward, everyone was getting prepared in the locker room. It beeps that we can't use our hero costumes here. It would have been so cool, Mina says. I suppose so. I suppose a lot of us will be at a disadvantage like Hagakure for example, Ojiro replied back. Toru only laughs. I could always just ditch the clothes entirely, which made everyone look weirdy. You don't happen to be a nudist or ya Hagakure? Jiro stood red. She was invisible, but come on. Meanwhile, Bakugo was sitting on the bench until Todoroki approached him. What do you want, Frosty? Bakugo said as rudely as ever. Looking at things objectively, we are the strongest of Class 1A, but if we were to ever face each other I would win. Todoroki explains clearly, which made Bakugo get up out of his seat in an egger. Huh? Oh, you really think so? Icy hot? Bakugo said, getting up in Todoroki's face, yelling. If I only used my ice, then I would be in trouble, but using my fire, I would win. Todoroki remained composed. All right then, finals, me and you. Don't get knocked out by some random extra, got it? Bakugo accepted. Right. Todoroki said, walking away as their rivalry truly began. Suddenly Midoriya-sensei popped in out of nowhere. Yo. I hope I didn't walk in on any of you with your literal pants down. Midoriya says as he scared the every living shit of Denki by his sudden speed? Teleportation? It's basically interchangeable. Stop doing that. Denki stuttered out. Doing what? Midoriya asked, oblivious. He means you jump scaring people. Jiro responds back. Me jump scare people? Since when? Izuku asked, appled. You made Mineta jump out of his dorm room window out of fear after you teleported into his room to give him his homework, Kirishima told Midoriya. Oh, so that's what that was all about. Midoriya said, honestly surprised. He honestly thought Mineta just did that. So anyway, I came to wish you guys luck for the sports festival. I know you guys are already gonna knock em dead with all the hard training you put yourselves into. Midoriya said cheerfully, giving them a thumbs up before walking away. Anyway, I'll be watching from the stands by, said Midoriya before instantly vanishing from everyone's sight. What even is he? Asked Kirishima before everyone returned to preparing for the festival. Izuku returned to the teacher's lounge area where he watched the event unfold, where he spotted Vlad King. Oh, Vlad King. Midoriya rushed over to Vlad in an excited manner. Oh great. Vlad King sighs as he sees Midoriya approach him. Can't wait to see Class 1B in action. I bet you've been training them well, Midoriya said excitedly. Yeah. Class 1B has a lot to show for themselves if they want to get the same kind of limelight your kids are getting, which is why I trained them the best I could. Vlad King explained, trying to brush off Midoriya's childish annoyance as he looked down at the sports festival. Hey. Pay attention, audience. Swarm. Mass media. This year's high school rodeo of adolescence that you all love, the UA Sports Festival, is about to begin. Everybody, are you ready? It's time for the students to enter the first-year stage, President Mike said. The students step out of the tunnel and into the sports festival stadium with everyone amazed by the sheer amount of people present. It was quite nerve-wracking for every student, honestly, no matter how strong or small. They haven't been getting as much airtime, but this class is also full of talent. Class 1B. President Mike introduced Class 1B to the crowd. Class 1B appears shortly after with Midoriya inspecting them. I can already tell your students are gonna give mine a run for their money if they don't take it seriously, Midoriya compliments. Oh really huh? Well let's see how it goes, Vlad King replies. Next up, General Studies classes C, D, and E. Support course, classes F, G, and H are here, too, and Business course, classes I, J, and K. All of UA's first years are here now. Present Mike introduces the other classes. Shortly after a student was picked to make a speech and it was, Bakugo? I pledge to be number 1. Bakugo declared, which made Class 1A cringe in pain knowing it would do a nuclear bomb ton of damage to Class 1's already fragile reputation amongst the other classes, while Midoriya was just laughing at the speech. He sure has a way with words, Midoriya commented, still chuckling. It's like seeing your younger brother trying to act all big and tough. Some commotion later. Midnight walked out. Now, let's get started right away. The first game is what you'd call a qualifier, she declared as she guided the students to the first event while whipping her whip on the floor, which made Deku shiver, which made Vlad King look a bit concerned. What did she do to Deku on that one date? The better question would be what she didn't do to Deku on that date. Meanwhile Yu, who was watching from the side, cursed old lady, she grunts quietly. The first event was an obstacle course. All the students got into position, and as soon as the match started the ground beneath all of them froze, as Todoroki Chippy did with the stronger ones like Kirishima and Bakugo breaking free easily. The course continued as they approached the first stage, which had the 0-pointers from the entrance exams, to the shock and terror of the students, but thankfully for them people like Bakugo and Todoroki were able to barge through them, allowing for the students' safe passing. Next up was the fall, where the students must traverse long pillars or else fall into the dark depths, with everyone using their own creative ways of getting past it, from Sue using her frog-like abilities to climb on the ropes or Todoroki skiing on the lines. The final part of the course was the minefields, where the entirety of the ground was covered head to toe in minefields, meaning everyone had to be extra careful not to step on them. Unless you're Todoroki, Iida or Bakugo, who just barge right through the minefields. The final lap was between Todoroki and Bakugo, both being neck and neck. "Grr, I am gonna beat you half, Bakugo yells while they run. "I don't think so." Suddenly Todoroki's left started to burn up as his flames suddenly appeared, freeing his flames, which backblast was so strong it spurred him into the finishing line, coming first, with Bakugo arriving in second shortly after. Endeavor, who was watching from the stands, smiled pridefully. "Yes, Shoto. You've embraced your true self. Using the power which will surpass me, All Might, and even Deku," he yells from the stands, which gets weird look from the spectators. Shoto, who had just finished the race, looks up at his father's loud ramblings and scoffs. He didn't do it for his father, no. He looked up to the stands to see Deku, who looks down at him with a smile, and he responds with a small smile of his own. Deku-sensei had taught him over these months to embrace his true self and accept that the fire is his, not his father's, as much as he thought it was. "Grr, why you?" Bakugo yells angrily as he just came past the finishing line. He storms up towards Todoroki. "Don't get comfortable in the top, just get icy hot, for I am gonna be the king of this entire festival," Bakugo declared, pointing a thumb at himself. That's Vegeta's technique. After everyone had finished, the next event was lined up, the cavalry battle. Students in teams of 2 to 4 are given headbands with points determined by which place they came in the race. Unfortunately for Todoroki, however, he had to end up with the 10 million points, which put a big bounty on his head. Midoriya wonders how Todoroki and the class in general would deal with such a situation. Would Shoto's most trusted friends stick together or be distant, fearing for their own sake in the competition? Meanwhile, the heroes and staff were hanging out. Endeavor had some words to say to Deku. "I must say, Deku, I thank you for efforts in making Shoto change his mind. Now he will finally realize the potential I keep telling him he has," Endeavor says pridefully in his son's achievements. Midoriya laughs. "Ah, you flatter me, Endeavor, but I didn't do it to make you proud. I did it because he just needed a little push to break free from you," he said casually with a smirk, which only angered the number 2 hero further. Most of the teachers and heroes looked in shock at the comment. "Break free? Like I am keeping my son hostage?" Don't be ridiculous, child. I am simply guiding my son on the right path. The path of a hero, and we both want," he said angrily, his flames bursting around him to Midoriya's disinterest. Endeavor sighed as he spoke. "It's quite rude to put yourself into other people's family problems and act like you fully understand it," with a glance especially with a person of your track record. "Huh? What's that supposed to mean, number 2? Midoriya said, getting interested into the conversation. Enji grits his teeth. "You don't understand my son at all, much like how you failed to understand your own best furry." But before he could finish that sentence, a black whip was shot at him. It was too fast for him to react, but it barely missed his neck as it cracks the wall behind him. Deku pulls the black whip back. "Shut it," he says, gritting his teeth before getting up and walking past the shocked Endeavor until turning his head to the shocked heroes. "Sorry about the wall, let my anger get to me there," he tells the heroes before leaving. Endeavor quickly regained composure. Deku may have the looks and mannerisms of a childish manbaby, but behind that false facade is the most powerful being on this planet. Meanwhile, fellow heroes share a similar look of shock and surprise at what had just occurred in front of them. Midoriya had returned back in time as the students decided their teams. To be continued. I hope you enjoyed this story. Also remember to subscribe and like this video. See you in the next video.